sound like cool and make them sound meaner, but they don't. It just sounds cartoonish. But I've been watching. There was a guy who he pets wasps, and he likes to tame wasps with his puts honey on his finger, and he'll hang it by the nest, and he'll wait for the wasp to crawl on his finger, and then in his house he like has wasp nests in this room and yellow jacket nest on the wall in this weird closet with a certain temperature, and he gets stung once in a while, and he's scared of getting stung, but he's not scared of handling the bees. And there's plenty of people that will pet. I was watching videos of how to pet a bee, how to stroke the head of a bee, which I have no desire to do. And then I wound up morphing into a video of a woman from Scotland who found a bumblebee with no wings and befriended it and gave it a life.
Befriended it?
I didn't even think of that.
That's fun, huh?
God damn it, it is fun. It is fun, and I didn't catch it. I didn't catch it. BEE-friended it, and it lived a wingless life in her house. And she would crawl into her hand and eat honey. It was very cute, actually. It's the only bee I could ever see myself owning is a wingless bumblebee, little fat bumblebee.
Because it's dependent on you.
Yeah, and it's not going to be it wasn't being aggressive because it had nowhere to go. So the worst thing about a bee is when the wings go like, it flies away and they fly all fucking awkward and annoying.
Yeah. I
can't stand them. They terrify me though. And I know Travis is also a bee cuck. And watching the videos I watched yesterday.
That's what that means.
Yeah, he is a bee cuck.
I don't think you know what cuck means.
Yeah, I do. Oh, yes, I do.
Cuck is.
I do. I've taken it to another level where I just lay there and jerk off while a bee lands on the woman I'm in love with. And it's very, very scary to watch these things. But I wonder if I would feed a bee. Like, I've seen people outside of hornets' nests with honey on their fingers. Like, would I do that if it was just going to eat off my... Like, they don't sting you when they're eating off your finger. They're not going to sting you.
But why?
Why would I do it?
What's missing? What's missing in your life? Not you, but what's missing in a person's life when they feel like they need to pet a bee? There's nothing cuddly about it. There's nothing satisfying about it. It's not going to show you any love back. You're just doing it to be able to accomplish that. There has got to be some kind of hole that you're filling inside your body, in your soul, that you have to pet bees. It
could also be the fact that it's dangerous and that nobody pets bees, or that you're doing, or maybe you're afraid of it. Yeah, I'm sure they would. But I mean, that's also the same attraction to. I mean, I understand the attraction to a bear or a tiger is different.
They're cuddly.
There's guys who just like insects, entomologists. I mean, they work with insects. I don't understand it. Insects give me the creeps, but there are people who are comfortable with insects. And when you see somebody who's comfortable with bees and watching a bee feed off it, or even watch beekeepers, they don't give a fuck. It's fascinating to watch people handle bees with bare hands. I'm very nervous.
Yeah, I mean, there is something fascinating. Like, I watched a bumblebee pollinating on a plant in my house. Obviously outside my house. Mm-hmm. I was just sitting there watching it, crawling on the flower, getting all its nectar that it needs and everything, letting pollen go from one plant to the other. And I was like, yeah, I could sit here and watch this for a while. There's something interesting about it. But at no point, and it was like a fuzzy bumblebee, so it would have maybe even been pleasurable to pet. But at no point was I like, I'd like to conquer this bee. I'd like to be able to pet this bee. I'd like to be the dominant species over this bee. You know what let me know that I had maintained dominance over the bee? I looked behind me and I saw my house. And I was like, oh yeah, I got a house and a TV and a phone and an iPad. And the stupid bee has a plant and a beehive, and that's it.
And a short life expectancy. I don't think it's about dominating the bee. I think it's because I'm afraid of bees. So even though I know everything about, like you just said, is right. Like, I am dominant over the bees, and I could crush. Asian hornets are big. I mean, those are the ones that fly in and fucking rip apart bumblebees. Like 30 of them will kill 30,000 bumblebees. I mean, they're crazy. Mm-hmm. They behead them.
Murder hornets.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
why they murder.
Yeah, yes. Chip Chipperson, the scientist. But those giant Asian hornets are very scary creatures. But even them, I'm dominant over. Like, they could fuck you up, and they can kill you if enough of them. But literally, if there was 10 of them here, I could squash every one of them. I would just get stung. I mean, but I'm the dominant. But it doesn't matter that I'm the dominant. I'm still scared of them. So sometimes it's just about
conquering the fear.
Yeah, or maybe even being not dominating it, but just being bonding with it, or connecting with it in a way where it's not harming you. Like, people pick up tarantulas.
finding the commonality, the synergy in the universe. It's like, oh, we're all just living organisms doing our thing. The bees have their place on this planet. We have our place on this planet. Let's exist together. Let me give you a little pet. A sugar, sugar, sugar.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe it's something like that. Or maybe they actually just like it. Like, there's people that think bugs are cute or they're interesting, and I wish I liked them more. Because when you look at shit on bugs, they're fucking fascinating. They're everywhere. They're resilient. Like, you know,
it seems like you like them a lot.
What's that?
You watch videos about bugs all the time. It seems like you like bugs quite a bit, actually.
Dude, I watch videos of people having their legs cut off with chainsaws. I don't like that.
True.
It's just something horrible.
That's true. That's actually...
a cartel boss do that. He cut off...
Right.
Some guy was in a chair, tied up, and the cartel boss cut off both his legs at the same time. I would say, lesson learned. I don't know what that man did, but there was a great infraction that he was caught doing. And he had broken the rules on such a level that the boss weighed the options and said, both of your legs need to come off as punishment.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. So we're all like, watch things that bother me, like fake YouTube pranks. You'll watch things that bother you, like cartel beheadings and plane crashes.
Sure, but I'll watch that stuff too. The fake YouTube pranks also annoy me, so I do understand the attraction to that too. But it's just like these things that like we are revolted by or terrified of. With bees, like when I see there's something about a wasp nest with 20 wasps on it, or 25 wasps, and it's just moving, and they all can all hurt you, and it's fucking. It hits me in a primal level. I can't describe why it bothers me so much. Morgan Spurlock touched on it in his documentary about rats, how like it's ingrained in us. Like almost like if you see a bunch of bunnies, like if you saw 10 bunnies, one of the worst stories as a kid I heard was one of the neighbors ran over a bunch of little bunnies with a lawnmower by mistake.
That's terrible.
He ran over. It was a complete accident, but I guess he was cutting the grass and he ran over a family of bunnies, little baby bunnies.
The whole family?
The baby bunnies. Yeah, there was a few of them.
Oh, it's a tragedy. That's devastation.
Yeah, but you react differently to bunnies than 10 roaches, and that's primal.
Oh, yeah?
That's not even something I've been taught. I don't know where I learned that, but there's something about a roach with its fucking antenna that just like on an ape level, I want to run away or step on it. Where if I see bunnies, I want to pick them up. Maybe because they're mammals.
Yeah, you know, when I see a deer, I've seen deer on my like lawn. Like if I see a deer on my lawn at night, I'll just sit there watching it and going, "How cool is it that I get to live in this area where I can see a deer like this? This is great." But then you're right. If I saw an ant in my house, I'd be like, this is terrible. Kill the ant. Kill the ant.
Right.
But is the ant going to leave ticks to get on me and my dog? No, that's the deer that's causing all that. Is the ant, when the ant steps into the road, is the ant going to cause like a 3-car pileup? No, that's the deer. But there's something about looking at that majestic creature that you go, that's wonderful. There's a deer walking across my front lawn.
Then again, if you put salt on your dick, an ant won't lick it. So I guess it kind of comes out. It comes out in the wash.
That's a great point.
Yeah, look, I love deer too.
I mean, here's the thing.
I don't pet them, but do you ever do this? Do you ever leave food out for a deer, and then a trail of gasoline up to your porch, and then when the deer comes to the food, you throw the fucking match and watch it. Watch the deer catch on fire, run into the street, and hit something.
I haven't tried that yet, but while we're all quarantined up, it's good to have activities to do. It's good to have new things. I did see that I won't do. I won't leave food for deer. Like, remember I was telling you that my wife and I visited the beach house that her dad was staying at?
Vaguely, yes.
Yeah, right. It's but there are deer on that beach area, and you see these families, and the deer will come right up to the boardwalk, and the families are sitting there feeding the deer. And then you're going, I wonder why this place is overrun with deer.
Yeah.
It's because the kids keep feeding it like it's this fun thing. And you're like, no, this is why you go to sleep at night and your garbage cans all get knocked over. Because all the deer come out and are like, we're not afraid of any of you anymore. All you dopes are feeding us food. Now we're going to go through all your shit.
There's something about, I guess that's just some weird connection to nature. And I don't like nature. I don't fuck around with nature. But I mean, like, I don't like camping. I think it sucks. But I was watching a video yesterday of a guy who was like on some camping trail, and he was he was walking, and he was walking backwards, and walking towards him was a Kodiak bear and her 2 cubs, which you can't think of a shittier scenario, because you can't turn around and run, because they say bears, like a dog, will chase a fleeing animal. And he said he just didn't want to stumble and fall over. But the cubs were like trying to like trollop towards him, like just to have fun. And the mother wasn't being menacing. And I don't know why. I don't understand the way bears think. Like, why was that not a problem? Maybe he was far enough away, or he was moving away. But it's like, what the I know I would panic and run if there was a bear in her, because there's nothing that will get a bear to fuck you up fast enough than the cubs.
And it's so confusing too, because the cubs are probably so adorable. And can you imagine how great it would be to play with a bear cub? Like in the moments right before the bear mauled you to death, or had its way with you, like when that bear sexed up Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant.
Yes.
Like right before that, when you just get to play with the cubs, it'd be amazing for a second.
Yeah. It would be fun, just to cuddle a little bear cub, but the mother's not far away. And she's going to be none too pleased when she smells you. Yeah, it's going to be short-lived.
I was looking, we were driving up, where the Woodbury Common outlets are, when you go like past the Tappan Zee and past the Palisades, and you go like up, you have to drive past the mountains and stuff, and you get to Woodbury Commons. I remember driving up there once, and you look off, and like you can see as you're driving, you can see all the mountains and the forest and stuff, and there's tons of trails for people to ride their bikes and go on strolls and all that stuff. And I just looked at the car window while we're stuck in traffic, and I just see this tiny little bear walking down one of the trails. And I thought to myself, obviously, this is yards and yards and yards away, so not that it's going to go into the road or anything, but I'm like, imagine if I'm on my bike riding that trail in the woods, and I realize that there's a baby bear very close to me. I'm fucked. I'd be terrified. Yeah. Like, do you sacrifice the bike and just try to walk away slowly? I don't know.
No, the bike is probably better to move faster.
Do you think a bike, you got to hope you can just outbike how fast the bear can run?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. And you also don't know which way the bear is. Like, is the cub ahead or behind the bear? So you could be riding right into the bear, and like your bike's speeding into this bear's path.
Yeah. Yeah, imagine you just like see the bear in front of you, and then you look to your right, and the mama bear is right there. You didn't see it because it's off the trail. You're fucked.
There's video. Did you ever see the video? The bear died recently, but there was a guy, I forget his name, him and his wife, I guess ran a bear sanctuary, and there's like a 900-pound, either a black or a grizzly bear they had. It was very affectionate, and it lived with the family, but you can watch videos of this guy playing with his pet bear, and it just makes it look like such a fun thing to do, to pet a bear.
But that's like, and see, I'm sure it would be a blast. Like, I'm sure petting a bear, or like having like a chimpanzee as a pet, like if they're being nice to you, I'm sure it would be a blast.
Yeah.
But that's like that movie, The Bear Man. The Bear Man was sure that all the bears were just friends with him. And then one day one of them just ate him because it's a bear. And you're like, hey, bear, why would you eat me? We were friends. And the bear says, because, stupid, I'm a bear. That's what bears do.
He was also in the woods, though. Like, he was... These bears were a little different. Where this one bear was in the sanctuary, but yeah, it is a wild animal and it can fuck you up. Would you hold a tarantula? I watch videos like that too. They don't scare me as much as they used to because they're bigger. Like the spiders that creep me out are the little fat oval ones that have those long skinny legs. Like those things give me the creeps. Like those like Australian bush spiders, whatever they're called.
Yeah,
where they're like a foot long. Those suck.
I think since the 80s and even the 90s, like I feel like then tarantulas were the scariest things ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've seen so many tarantulas crawling on so many people, and everybody says that they're actually super docile. I mean, it would terrify me to find one in the wild or to see one in my house or anything like that. But I think I'm way more afraid of the smaller Australian spiders or the black widows or even a scorpion. Like those things scare me way more than that fuzzy big old tarantula. It feels like you could get away from a tarantula, whereas those Australian bush spiders or a black widow, it feels like you wouldn't even know they were there.
Well, the bush spiders are bigger. I mean, those are like a foot long, and their legs are long and skinny.
Oh, maybe
they're
I'm
on
thinking of
the
a
wall.
different thing.
Oh, dude, the brown recluse spiders, maybe they're called. They just suck. And
I'm getting the creeps just thinking about it. Like I'm worried there's something under my table or something.
Yeah, look up a giant spider and the tarantulas. You've seen so many videos of them sitting on people's faces. There's always a picture of some guy with a tarantula on his face, and you're like, all right, I guess.
I see the bush spider. Yeah, that would. I'd be a wreck if I saw one of those. Oh, the big one with the really long legs.
Yeah,
oh, that
suck.
Horrifying. I would move
suck.
if I saw one walking around, like even like anywhere in my house. I would just leave. I mean, I guess I would take the essentials if it were far away from the spider. But like, if I saw one of those crawling around the studio, I would probably just leave the studio forever and go like, "Hey, Jim McClure, I need a portable unit because I can never go to my studio ever again."
You know, it's funny. I don't have a real fear of spiders. Like, I don't like them. Like, if there's a giant one right by me, but I like literally try not to kill bugs anymore. Like, I'll let it crawl on something and I'll put it outside.
Pussy.
Yeah, I know. I don't like to kill them. You know, I don't know.
I'll kill him in my house. I still have the. I go, look, any living being, any species, once it comes in my house, if it's uninvited, I could kill it. So,
yeah, but they kill other bugs though. They're actually good to kill, like ants and fucking anything else in the house a spider kills. So you leave them and they kind of debug the rest of the house. Travis is shaking his head no.
No, then there's a chance it crawls on you when you're sleeping.
And does what?
Here's what happens:
Which
if
one,
you
to
let
catch
spiders
you?
just gallivant in your house and just be like, "Oh, this is my new spot," they lay eggs in the corners.
Yeah,
that you
and
don't
then
see.
who really owns the home at the end of the day?
The spider.
Right. Yeah. No, you're the boss, Sam.
Yeah, I'm the boss. I killed a spider. My kid, and plus, you know, can you imagine if I am not allowing my child to grow up in one of those houses where you find a bug and you put it in a cup. You put it in a cup and you slide the paper. That's what my wife tries to do sometimes, but luckily she gets creeped out by bugs. So she goes, "Sam, there's an ant here. There's a spider here. Can you take care of it?" And I go, "Yup." And I take one of my many, many sneakers from my abundant sneaker collection, and I flatten the spider or the ant or whatever kind of insect it is to the point where you see the juice. I let my children see the bug juice and let them know, young Edgar, this is the life that this insect once had, escaping from it. It made the fatal mistake of entering our home. That's what I tell him.
I just sent you guys a picture in the Zoom. These are the spiders I'm thinking of, by the way. I believe they're called Huntsman. The Huntsman spiders.
No,
Huntsman.
fuck that. No.
Travis is upset.
Did you see the picture?
Upset
Yes,
Travis.
and I immediately X'd out of the window.
It's a nest of spiders
No.
found inside a timber box.
Ah! Oh my god.
No.
Okay, I'm out. I'm literally like, you know how much I love Westchester County. I swear to you, I'm leaving the county. If that box that you just sent us, we'll tweet that out so everybody can see it. But if that box is found in my house, you will never find me in Westchester County again. It's no longer the Bestchester after that. I'm moving to Bestchester, Pennsylvania, if I find that box in my house.
Well, I'm looking up spider infestations as we talk, and that is bad. Like, that's where you get a problem.
Horrible.
You don't want to obviously have an infestation of spiders, but if you have like if you go on YouTube and watch infestation videos, they're fucking horrible. Well, yeah, but it makes you feel better about your own life, though.
If you just let spiders be in your house and live, they 100% are going to lay an egg. Spiders
not
love
like
laying
this.
eggs.
That's what they do.
But they lay an egg, and then you just see some web in the corner, and then one day the egg hatches, and you have 1,000 tiny little spiders in your apartment.
Yeah, there's one story about a spider infestation forcing a family out of the house. I've seen one with snakes and one with ants. Like, once in a while, there's a house that gets hit with bugs so bad, and they just can't get rid of it.
My wife has a friend in Australia.
Who?
My wife.
Nice.
And she was showing me photos that she'll post on Facebook. It is completely normal to just have a snake, like, in your house.
I got a snake, man.
But like, we freak out over like, you know, a little spider or like a cockroach. She will open up her closet one day and like there'll just be a garden snake like that just like slithered by.
Like not even in the garage,
No,
in the closet, in the house?
fucking house. And,
Yeah.
And what do you do? Do you stomp on its head and kill it?
I would personally just abandon the house and go find a new house. So I can't
new
say
house.
what a normal person would do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would put up on the market. There would be on the real estate market a fully furnished home with also food still in the fridge
Free
available
house.
for purchase.
Parentheses, possibly one snake inside.
Yeah, please do not open closet.
There is a snake-infested houses. I've watched videos on them too, and I think I don't know, they might come in from either the walls or the basement. There's an area, but they finally found where the snakes were coming in from, and I think it was under the house, but it was fucking treacherous. There's one in Idaho, I think, and it was just treacherous how many snakes were living under the house, and they said the water tasted weird, like snake.
Oh God, there was snake piss in the water.
Yeah, probably really awful.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, that's terrible. I mean, that gives me the willies. Just that's the part I don't like about doing the show at home. Because if I got the willies in the studio, I'd be like, oh, what if the studio's infested? But now I won't be able to stop thinking about it all day.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It's terrible.
They wind up in the yard. They wind up everywhere. And people have had to give up their homes because of just these bug infestations and snake
That's what I'll never do.
infestations. Yeah.
I'll never let the bugs win. That's why I don't let one in. Not one. And then, I mean, oh my God. Then a mosquito gets a house. All of a sudden, you have this beautiful 1-year-old daughter. She got a mosquito bite on her forehead because one of these bastards got in the house. I'll kill all of them. All of them. All of them.
Wow. Yeah,
Just to
snake
prove a point.
infestations are crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you can't.
There's no bug
You
too
can't-
small that I won't kill.
No, there are bugs too big. You just get scared and run
Oh,
away.
yeah.
But the small ones you'll get.
Yeah. I don't just like pass it off as like, it's just a small bug. No, that 2 paper towels.
You know what that is?
Smash.
Yeah. When you let us 2 paper towels, because it's icky.
Yeah, but you don't want to get it on your fingies.
You won't let any bugs live in the house, Travis?
No,
Is
not
there
if I can help it. No.
Is there anything that you look at and go, all right, it's just a bug?
Well, no.
Okay.
I mean, but at the same time, Travis, to be fair, if you piss the bed, you won't just leave the sheets on for 3 days either.
That's
Yeah,
true.
I mean,
we are a different person.
We're different people.
Mm-hmm.
We handle these stressful circumstances differently. I free
true.
bugs and wet my bed. You kill bugs and don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you let one bug in, and you go, it's just a little bug, you're opening that door a crack, and once the door's ajar, you're widening it wide open for rattlers.
Yeah, it's like broken windows.
You can't have it.
You know, it's the broken windows policies in New York. You let people, pee on the streets. Next thing you know, they're going to pee in your house, and I can't have that.
Yes,
That's a great
can't
point.
Have that.
Yeah.
Thank God there's
If
a
I
law
could
and order
build-
mayor keeping everything locked down.
That's true. That's true. He won't let any of this happen. Yeah, the minute you have hobos doing heroin and masturbating right outside your house and chasing you with a baseball bat if you go get a cup of coffee, who knows what happens next?
Yeah.
Luckily, we won't get that far.
Yeah, good thing we have a mayor who at least, if there's hobos jerking off in the street, he will be aware of it. I mean, that's
right.
Really helpful.
That's right. Right. Well, he'll be aware of it because people like Troy Kwan will just post on their Instagram story, hey, here's a guy doing heroin on a bench in broad daylight.
Good
I
for
saw that
Troy.
one, Troy. Yeah, that was
Yeah, that was right down the
Fuck.
block for me. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
Broad daylight.
It's insane. Insane. I saw that and I was like, this should not be allowed on Instagram. And then I said, more importantly, this should not be allowed to be done in the middle of the afternoon in public when you're walking around with your kids. That's probably the bigger issue.
Yeah. Watching people jerk off is just a bizarre thing in public. For guys to pull their dicks out and just stand in the middle of the street. I've seen subway videos like that where guys are just jerking off in the subway. I'm like, what are you doing? I don't understand how you can do it.
You've given up on society at that point. Although I think that the first step is probably letting a bug live in your house. And then the steps slowly build until you're masturbating on the subway.
I don't know. That's a big leap. I mean,
You think so?
Yeah, from allowing a Huntsman spider to prance around on your ceiling to jerking off on 68th Street. There's a big leap there. That's a giant leap in behavior.
You got to start somewhere.
I see it. I see it. Yeah, I see the line. It's a long line, but I can see it. I can see how one eventually leads to the other. And that's why I try to nip things in the butt. Stop it now.
Nip things where?
I didn't know if it was bud or butt, so I tried to just trail off after the U.
Really?
I tried to just make it so that last letter you couldn't totally decipher which one it was. And then you went ahead and did the follow-up question, kind of left me over here with my pants down.
I just sent you guys another picture. This is a Huntsman spider. I know that this is not good for people. You have to, because you might have to tell people
true.
about it.
You do kind of, you might have to tell people about it. Okay, the headline is "Burn It with Fire. Terrified woman finds massive Huntsman spider the size of a saucepan stalking her living room." I'm scrolling down. I'm about to look at the picture. It's like a Halloween decoration. That's camping. No. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a big spider.
It's an alien from Men in Black. It is the scariest thing I ever seen in my entire life.
I will not be scrolling down again.
Do they bite though or no?
They destroy lives. It looks like something from a Halloween store. It looks fake. Like, it looks like a spider could not possibly be that large and intimidating.
They're reluctant to bite. They'll try to run away rather than be aggressive. Yeah, they can bite, but they necessarily don't. Oh, do you know what was...
here's what I'd say. If they're more likely to run away than bite, then what the hell are they doing in my house? You should have run away before you got in my house. Because looking at that spider would go, I really wish I owned a shotgun. Because if I did, I would blow that spider through the wall. I would take out the shotgun and say, Jess, cover the kid's ears. I'm going to shoot that spider with a shotgun right now.
Well, if you look up, there's a Huntsman spider video I saw a long time ago of a guy trying to kill it in some woman's house. Mm-hmm. And like he goes to trap it, like it's over his head, and it gets away.
Oh, I can't. I don't want to see it.
It's a giant spider, and watching someone try to catch one, and I think eventually they had to kill it. They killed it.
If you find a big spider in your house, can you shoot it with a shotgun if it's in your house? I feel like you should be able to.
Just start a bow and arrow.
Okay, maybe like a crossbow. Could you use
a flamethrower?
Get one of those Elon Musk flamethrowers and try. But then, what happens if the spider stays alive and you got this giant Huntsman spider that's now a flaming Huntsman spider just running through your whole house? How do you stop a flaming Huntsman spider?
I think you just film it and you realize you have a great video. Like your house. I think if you have a flaming spider running through the house, you just got to chalk it up to, I lost this one, I'm going to get a good video out of it.
Yeah. On the bright side, this is great content.
It's great content. That's exactly it.
Yeah, this is great content. Hopefully you can write off the house. You got some insurance. It should be fine.
Yeah.
But it is good content.
Yeah. So that's what I've been doing, just watching these dumb... There was one more video I watched, too. It was, what was it, bees, the spiders. There was something else I watched, and I don't remember quite what it was. I just lost the thought as we're chatting, so I guess it wasn't that important.
It's terrifying. All that stuff is terrifying to me.
It is terrifying.
I'm glad today, in just a few minutes, actually, I'm really excited to talk to David Arquette. I love David Arquette. Yeah. I've been on while you've been watching all this stuff, I've been on a David Arquette binge. I watched the Spree movie that's coming out, I think, on Friday, which he's just in. It's like a regular narrative drama, or I think it's a horror. I guess it would be horror. It's like a scary movie. It's like a violent movie. And then I also watched this documentary, You Cannot Kill David Arquette, which is about the fact that the last 2 or 3 years he's decided to get back into pro wrestling. Yeah. Except he's not doing it, like he's not on TV pro wrestling. Like he's actually going to these independent shows and doing it like, the old school way. Right. Which is so crazy to see. He's just kind of a lunatic, but just an interesting guy. Yeah. Who I guess just, figures it out as he goes. He was saying that when he got into pro wrestling around the same time WCW did that thing we talked about yesterday with Jay Leno and Hulk Hogan. Yep. When they were just letting celebrities just run amok of their organization, just destroying the credibility of every wrestler if they could find a celebrity. And they did that with Arquette, and he's another one that, like, wrestling fans just couldn't stand him because they put the title on him. And they were like, you ruined everything, David Arquette. You ruined wrestling for us. We thought it was real, and then you destroyed it for us. So he said the wrestling fans hated him. But then the really interesting part to me was that Hollywood, he was like getting roles. He was in Scream. He's doing pretty well. But he started doing this wrestling stuff, and Hollywood did to him. It's the same story that Andy Kaufman told. Like, He started doing this wrestling stuff, and Hollywood just thought he was a weirdo. They were like, I don't know, he's doing some weird wrestling thing. We really don't want anything to do with it.
He was only wrestling women, too.
Kaufman.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, they just stopped working with David Arquette. Hollywood was just over it because they thought he was a weirdo. So it totally wrecked him. So the wrestling fans didn't like him, and Hollywood didn't like him, and he just sat there going on auditions, not getting anything. It was really tough, but he's decided, like, all these years later to get back into it. So
David Arquette, by the way, starred in the 2002 masterpiece,
Eight-Legged Freaks.
Eight-Legged Freaks. To bring
Eight-Legged Freaks. Yeah, where he has to fight. He has to fight spiders that are even bigger than Huntsman spiders. Which
so he probably would know what to do. He probably knows the legalities of using a shotgun against the spider.
Yeah,
because I believe that was a documentary.
I don't know if it was a documentary, but it was definitely a true story.
Okay,
based on
it might have been. It might have been dramatized, but yes, I do believe it was a true story. So, and that does get confusing sometimes. I get confused when I'm watching movies too. Is this real life or is it a movie? So yeah, it'll be fun to talk to him.
Is he the only person we have today, or no?
No, we got him, and we have Matt Iceman.
We do have Matt, right? Okay, yeah, my memory's good.
Matty Ice.
So yeah, Matty Iceman. Yes, I haven't talked about him.
He's going to be on the show.
Yeah, he's a good egg, Matt.
Oh yeah, he is. I mean, he's the only person I know of who will host a show on NBC and at the same time ride the subway with Bobo.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
It's not like, the NBC thing is drying up, maybe I'll ride the subway with Bobo, or, okay, the Bobo thing isn't working out, maybe I'll go host this show on NBC. No, he's doing it simultaneously, which...
He's doing it at the same time, yeah. He's really a good fan of the show and an old O&A fan. And, he's true to what he likes, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, who else is hosting a network show and also doing Chip Chipperson's show whenever he gets a chance?
Yeah.
That's the guy.
Chip showed off his new game show to Matt, too, in an effort to be competitive. I don't remember what it was called.
Well, of course, because Chip isn't the type of guy who goes like, oh, this person's a friend, he's always been loyal to me, let's just celebrate him. Chip gets competitive and says, like, oh, if you think that's cool, I can do it better, which is a terrible quality in a human being.
Yeah, in a way, it's not good. It's really, it's not a good quality.
No, it isn't. It isn't. It's tough, but people love Chip.
Well, they tolerate him, I think.
Well, joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, somebody who I just said I was on a binge on because I was watching him in a movie, I was watching him in a documentary, and I've actually been waiting to talk to him for a while now. David Arquette joins us. What's going on, man? How are you?
What's happening?
Hi, David.
How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Thanks for having me.
What is that behind you on your left, if I can ask? Not the monkey with the Superman suit, but the other thing, yeah.
Yeah, this is an old delegate's costume, a vintage costume from a delegate, where it has all these old, it has a Roosevelt pin. It's just to remind people to vote. Get out there and vote. It has.
You always know that
Robert.
You got a lot of pins on a jacket. When you move the fabric, you get that kind of metal on metal.
Oh yeah,
like a Christmas tree.
Do you collect them, or did you just buy them for this jacket?
No, the jacket was like that with the hat. It's some guy's old jacket. I like finding weirdos' old clothes, and then I don't know, having a bunch of weirdos' old clothes.
Last time I talked to you, it was like it must have been about 2 years ago, because it was when you were just kind of starting the wrestling thing up again, and we were talking about the whys and the everything, and actually a lot of the stuff that you cover in the You Cannot Kill David Arquette documentary that's coming out in a week or two. But I remember specifically asking you, Like, what are you going to do if you're on, like, at some independent show and somebody starts to take liberties with you, or you feel like, somebody's actually starting to throw real punches at you? And you were saying, like, if I have to really fight, I know how to do that thing too. And not a couple of weeks after that interview, I'm watching a video and I'm seeing you. And you always know when you're watching wrestling, when something clicks off and it's like, this isn't wrestling anymore. You sign up for a death match with a promotion called GCW, which is like, for wrestling fans, probably the best hardcore wrestling, against a legit badass named Nick Gage, who literally, had to interrupt his wrestling career for a year because he went to jail for bank robbery, and then got out and started doing all this. I'm like, what is David doing? And I watched you, and at one point in the match, you got stabbed in the neck with a broken light tube. And you start gushing blood, and all of a sudden, wrestler David Arquette turns off, and real David Arquette turns on, and you grab Nick, and Nick looks at you with this look like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? We're trying to do this here. And I was like, we literally just talked about this, David.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's a lot in that. There's a lot that goes behind. It was, I take responsibility for my part of, you always have to stick to the plan. I wouldn't have got stabbed in the neck if I had stuck to the plan. There's a lot that goes on. Nick Gage is an amazing wrestler. Like, he's a lot better wrestler than people might think. You might think like it's just a death match situation. He's just this tough guy, but he's actually a very skilled wrestler. And a lot of factors came in that situation, but we have no hard feelings. And they're doing a like Dark Side of the Ring with them, which I hope to participate in. So, I got no hard feelings. I learned a lot. The main thing is always stick to the plan, even if something goes wrong.
What if you don't like the plan going in? You know that going in. If you don't like the plan, will you still do it, or will you just tell them before, I don't like this plan?
You sort of sometimes have sort of rules and boundaries, and sometimes they get crossed. So there's a lot of different ways to handle different situations. I'm just happy I didn't die. I thought I was dead, man. I thought I was dead, and I falled on him and tried to pin him, just so if I died, I'd at least win in the ring. But he kicked out because I wasn't supposed to win.
Yeah, and he's like, look, I'm sorry your neck is hurt, but I'm not losing to you.
Yeah, exactly. I don't blame him. But yeah, I learned a lot of lessons. But it's all good. The next day, I'd actually went to an NXT thing, and I was walking in, and I saw you. You were in the middle of an interview. And I remember. I didn't know you were in the middle of an interview, so I was like saying what's up, and I was like, it was like an awkward
Dude,
situation.
I remember. I'll never forget, because I'm hosting the pre-show, and they put the table in the middle of the crowd. And so the crowd walks by you and everything, and I just feel this tap on my shoulder, and I look around, and the first thing I see is just some guy with a super gigged up face. You just had cuts everywhere and stuff, like you had just gone through hell. And then I went, wait, that's David Arquette. Yeah. And you said hi, and then you had this look like, oh shit, you're on. Okay, never mind. And you just kept going, but I was like, oh my God, he went through hell last night.
Yeah, I didn't make it through that whole thing. I was like, ooh, I had to actually go to the hospital after that. I'd already been to the hospital, but then I had to go get a bunch of surgery.
What do you like about the wrestling? Do you like a lot of people like being in physical confrontation. Do you like the theater of it, or do you actually like the physical part of it where you could get hurt?
There's a lot of don't like the getting hurt part, but there's a part of it that's kind of self-abusive in this weird way, especially in the deathmatch circuit. So I kind of came to terms with a lot of that. Like, why would I? My wife was really upset with me that I'd put my life on the line like that. She's like, do you want to die? And I had to look at myself and why was I doing this kind of stuff? And I've done a lot of things in my life that are daredevilish and death defying in a way. So I did have to examine that, but I like the pageantry of it. I like the storytelling of it. I loved it as a kid and I still love it as an adult. So to me, there's a lot of things I love about it. I love that as an actor, you'll get criticized for wearing silly clothes, but as a wrestler, I can dress any way I want. there's no holds down. They're like, oh yeah, that's David. He's an actor, but he's also a wrestler.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess this, like, the next week or two is going to be that in a nutshell, because you have Spree, that's coming out on Friday, video on demand. And then the documentary that we're talking about, I think, comes out the 21st in drive-in theaters, and then the 28th on video on demand. Spree is a cool movie because Spree, actually, you could have probably made that movie even while quarantine and stuff was happening, because it's all shot on like phones and there's not giant crowds of people or anything like that. It's kind of all done through the lens of social media.
Yeah, they shot it all on phones and GoPros, like hundreds of them. But yeah, it's an interesting story. It's Joe Keery's in it, the kid from Stranger Things. He's a really incredible actor. He did a great performance. And Eugene Kutrilenko created this world, the director, where he kind of examines an influencer, but the kind of influencer that doesn't have a lot of followers. So it's like, why do these guys still do it? What is their desire to have like this group to follow them, and what are they really saying, and just what their like need for attention and verification and all this stuff, validation. So it's just this weird world. And then it also sort of coincides with the epidemic of, mass murdering, shooting and killing and all this, why people do that. So it examines a lot of really harsh, important topics and explores them in a very disturbing way. But I think it's an important film.
It's weird too, having something shot on a phone. What was the movie, Tangerine, was it called? The one that was shot on iPhones, and it's crazy how effective that is and how good it looks, and how if I didn't know things were shot on an iPhone because I was told, I probably wouldn't notice.
Yeah, it's a whole new world out there. I mean, people can literally make films on their own now, just with a cell phone and a computer, and just edit it. You can do it actually all on the phone if you want it. So that's a really great thing for tools for people to be creative out there. You don't need like agent manager, all that stuff anymore. You need just read some books, study some films, and get out there and make it yourself.
What do you think about deep fakes? It's interesting to watch what they're doing with these deep fakes. I'm wondering, what is that going to do to films? Like, are they eventually going to be able to get an actor, say 10 years from now, 12 years from now, and get all of someone's mannerisms and actually just make a film with that person using deep fake technology?
They probably will, yeah. I just did the whole body scan and all this stuff, and for a video game, and they do everything. They scan everything, your underwear and all this stuff, and they're able to manipulate you any way they want. So I think it's really interesting. I wanted to ask them if I could have that information so that at my funeral I could do like a puff of smoke and then like project a huge like Wizard of Oz face there. Like, don't worry, I know you're sad, but it's gonna be all right. I love you. I'm still here. I'm in your hearts.
Or you go the other way and you go, look, wherever I am right now, I can't breathe and I'm in a lot of pain.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. I tend not to. I got really close to death a couple times last year. I personally don't think it. I think it's the opposite, but
yeah,
I don't think it's like scary. And I don't know. Who knows?
I hope not.
What was the closest that you got to death last year?
I had 2 stents put in my heart before I did this whole wrestling thing, and then getting stabbed in the neck. For that, until I asked somebody if it was pumping, I was pretty sure I was dying.
Yeah.
So
isn't that amazing though, when you're like, well, I shouldn't be wrestling because I could die because I got the stents in my heart, and then you're like, oh, the thing that's going to get me is just getting stabbed in the neck. The stents don't matter at all. I'm going to bleed out anyway.
yeah, absolutely.
It could have been 22. It doesn't matter.
It's actually going to bleed out faster because your heart is pumping better. So it's not gonna be shit.
But by the way, and I'm on blood thinners, so it's like really gushing. Yeah, it was pretty intense. There is like a feeling of like, I don't know. We're all here for a blink of the eye anyway,
Were the stents something that you, all of a sudden, they said you must have these, or did you start to feel things and go, I should go get checked out, and they go, this might be a good preventative thing?
No, yeah, I was having a lot of pain and a lot of discomfort, and I was just I knew something was up, and went to the hospital. They did a stress test where they give you a shot instead of like just putting you on a treadmill, and it makes like your whole like junk area hot and like warm and all this weird stuff. It's like adrenaline or something, but it immediately made me feel like I was having a heart attack, and I was like, I feel like I'm having a heart attack. This really hurts. And the doctor's like, the doctor called up to the 5th floor where I'm on the 1st floor, and he's like, bring down like the nitroglycerin, and I was like, that's not close. Like, we have to wait for the elevator. And then the doctor started doing all this stuff like, patient, blah, 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 blah. He's literally like doing all this doctor jargon. I was like, oh, he's documenting my death. Like, that's what's happening right now. And I was like, so that was a pretty scary situation. But if you do like, you go to the places of like, you think about your life, like you think about all those things, and at the end of the day, it's like, my family loves me, my wife loves me. I've done things, some things that I'm proud of, and some that I'm not. But that's a life. You know what I mean? That's pretty much what it is. So it takes a lot of the pressure off in a way. Like I don't have as much of a drive to like, it's all about, then it's just about sort of finding a way to be peaceful in myself and not beat myself up.
So you're not always looking for, like, as performers, it's kind of hard to not always be looking for the next thing. Like, we're always afraid of just kind of falling in between the cracks. Did you have that and lose that fear and just kind of be comfortable with, hey, this is what I've achieved, I've had a great life so far, and I don't have to have that? What is it that kind of occurred that made you, because that's really a great place to be, where you're not obsessed with, I don't want to fall between the cracks, like where you just know things are going to kind of unfold okay.
Yeah, totally. That drove me for a long time, like that worry and that fear and all that stuff. But I don't know. I got to a place where I just want to do things I love. Like, even if, despite how they turn out as much, like work with people I love, have fun. Obviously you want to do things that really entertain people, and especially like the kind of people that are, like your type of humor or your type of films. You really want to provide entertainment that they enjoy. You don't want to get a, right. A walk single. Even that's good. You know what I mean? You don't want to strike out. That always doesn't feel great. But if you're doing things just more for the experience, for, you're working with people you really love doing that with, there's a real fun and joy about that I've found that is what I'm more looking for now.
You know what's worse than striking out is hitting a long, deep foul. That's the worst. Because you get your fucking hopes up.
Yeah, that's the worst. Unless somebody can run home.
Yeah, you're just watching it and you're like, it's going. It starts to drift over. You're like, oh, no.
Oh, I know.
Foul ball.
Have you had moments like that? Yeah, where you're like, this is going to be a home run. Like, I did it. I found the thing. And then you go, that didn't work out like I expected whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah. It happens a lot. Yeah. That happens all the time. It happens more than it doesn't. There's only the few things, you look back, there's only the few things that kind of pop. Like, sometimes people discover some stuff a long time down the road. You know what I mean? After you've done it and it's lived out there.
Right.
Do you, I feel like this is that Spree is going to be one of those movies that I think it's built for video on demand. I think this is a good time for it to come out because it's that kind of, when you're locked into it on your own screen, you're like, oh, this is what this is. I like it because it tapped into the mania, like that kind of manic thing where you're like checking and checking and checking, and you even see like the people who, while it does look at the people who are not successful as social media influencers, it then looks at the people that are successful, and you're like, they're checking just as much for how many likes did they get and how much interaction is there and all the little buzzwords that get used to describe this stuff that doesn't actually mean anything.
Yeah. Eugene again did an amazing job of like, even on the screen, there's all these comments and all these followers, and the more frenetic the film comes, the more intense they are. And, there's one specific person that he's listed there that's just like the hater, like encouraging to do evil shit. I
love
totally
that,
wild stuff.
You'll get to this like emotional point in the film where if you've been with it, you're like, oh my God, here we go. And then if your eyes go down to the comment section, you just every single time have one guy going fake, so fake. And you're like, that's exactly what would be happening. Stupid, fake, this is dumb.
There's like, they have a Instagram, Kurt's World 96, where he's done all this like backstory for the character. It's the character's like website or thing that he's his Instagram that he's really trying to like become an influencer. He's doing all these these unboxing things and reviews and all this stuff, making memes, and it's amazing because we built sort of a backstory there too, and you could go and see like our relationship. I play his father in the film, like this DJ who never grew up, and it's kind of a bad dad, just doing kind of acting shitty to his son. So you can sort of explore that. And we had an opportunity to go out and film a bunch of stuff, and just all me and Joe and Eugene, and just sort of explore these characters. And it really helped us understand where these guys were coming from.
Well, these weird like influencer, I mean, they're not much different than us in a way, where they're people who want to be recognized, they're people who want to express themselves or be noticed, and some people do better at it than others. So it's weird to watch what happens when the frustration of people, like Hitler was just a shitty painter, or Manson was a lousy singer. Like, what would have happened if Hitler was a great painter and Manson had a great voice? Like, how much different would life have been? Or how many other psychopaths would there have been that actually turned out to be great influencers or entertainers that would have actually gone out and been psychotic people had they not made it? It means a lot to people to make it.
Yeah, I don't know, the empathy thing you have, like with the lack of empathy, or like, just being a sociopath, I think is a pretty, I don't know if they're successful sociopaths, would they end up not being as, or narcissists? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know.
It is that sociopath thing though, but you're right. It's like, it's like a little kid. When you look at a little kid and they're just like, look at me, look at me, look at me. And then when you don't look at them, they hit their sister or they break something. And it's like, well, if I wasn't getting attention for this good thing that I was doing, I know I can get attention for this bad thing that I'm doing.
Yeah, that's what I have with my son, Charlie. He's 6 and our other son's 3. And I just was talking to him. I was like, and he was doing something mean to his brother. And I was just, he's got ADD. Reminds me a lot of myself as a kid. And I was saying to him, well, listen, Charlie, if you're mean to the world's going to be mean back to you. And if you're kind and loving to the world will be kind and loving. That doesn't, I didn't go into this, but it doesn't, take into account just the chaos of the world, and bad things sometimes happen in general in life. But just that as sort of a template to like live your life by is sort of what I've been trying to do, just be better version of myself. But, honest, I've always been really honest and open. And that's what I love about your comedy, Jim. I always have loved how honest you've been about all of your experiences. And I think that's where, good comedy comes from.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you. Yeah, and it also, we talked about this yesterday, too. A lot of times on the radio, at least, it comes when we have what we call a slow news day, and there's not a lot going on, and we have to talk, and we have like 2 hours to kill, and like you start saying shit because you want to fill the time and you want to be entertaining, and then you realize like, wow, I confessed something that I never thought I would talk about. It happened when I was 8, and I was ashamed of it, and here it is. Now it's a bit. But yeah, I always find that's the easiest, and it's the hardest stuff to steal because it's mine. So it's like nobody's going to take it because who wants those experiences? They're awful.
Right. Oh man, that's like been a big experience of mine too. I've been to like kind of like wow, especially like calling Howard Stern in the past, and just kind of just revealing not too much, but all of the goal within wrestling, within acting, like all of these things is to be real, to be sort of, whenever I try to do something, even if it's over the top, I try to ground it. I try to find some basis in myself. So, you know, and it a lot of the times, yeah, you do reveal some stuff that you're like, oh, you know, well, that's
because in the moment, though, I mean, I'm sure you're going in the moment. You're like, oh, that was great content. Like, that was great radio. That was great, whatever it is. And then it's not until you're done on the air or you're done, whether in a wrestling promo, whatever it is, once it's over and you start seeing the reaction, you're like, oh, this has way more circumstance than I thought it would.
Yeah, for sure. That's happened to me a few times, for sure. But I love Jim Jeffries. He was like talking about the line in his latest special. He's talking about like the line. He's getting in trouble for jokes 10 years ago, but you moved the line. You know, it's your job to go up to the line and even kind of step over it sometimes. But then if you move the line, then you can't get mad at me for where the line is now. So that's something we're all going to have to sort of figure out. I don't know, like how you could do a crazy kind of American Pie nowadays, or like these kind of like crazy, like teeny kind of like coming of age kind of silly things anymore. I mean, or like I don't know. I got offered something recently that I loved. It was really funny, but I was like, I don't know if I can do this right now because of all the stuff going on.
You know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like being an entertainer. It's like standing in a circle with people around you. And it's kind of like a firing squad. And they decide who they want to shoot and who they don't. And a lot of times they're shooting at one person and they miss. And they hit somebody behind that person that they like. Like, what's acceptable? Like, I have no problem with that new song. What's that, Wet Ass Pussy? Like, I don't care about that. But it's so funny how, like...
I didn't know what it stood for.
Yeah, rap, yeah. It wasn't my first guess either, but somebody... But when you look at it, like, that's great, but then they still expect, like, comedies to be punished for being dirty or offensive or rude. There's no sense to it. There's no way to figure it out because it's based in just grabbing things out of thin air and weaponizing them. There's no pattern to it, so we can't. There's no way to do it right, I guess is my point.
Yeah, I know it's a really weird world to.
But
crazy
now.
The nice thing though is that people are still definitely okay with violence. So like you can keep doing Scream movies forever because you could stab people nonstop. Like that line always just remains the same. Like stab everybody that you want. Just keep making them.
That is really the craziest part, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I walked into the death match and people were like, I hope he kills you. Like, you're the worst. Boo. Like, what a loser, all this stuff. And then after, like, I blood, like, all this crazy stuff happened, they're like, yeah, we love you now because you almost killed yourself. It's like, oh, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, you're like, I won them over, but this is how I won them over. I don't know if this is, like, you wanted to be the guy that has a good time and throws confetti out of his wrists and stuff like that. You're like, no, we want the guy who bleeds profusely out of the neck.
Yeah, I know. Oh, it's such a bizarre time.
Hey, did you ever regret overshare? Sorry, Sam. Did you ever regret?
No, go ahead.
Like when you overshare, like that term that we all use. Like I find that there's things that were like a little embarrassing that I've said, but it's never really had a negative effect. It's more like either somebody will actually come and go, "Hey, man, I'm really glad you said that because I've done that or I've thought that," and that normalized the thought to me that I thought I was crazy for. The embarrassing factor is like the negative, but the positive seems to outweigh it, even when you're like quote unquote oversharing.
Yeah, I mean, there's things that I definitely wish I wouldn't have shared. I mean, I've never been very like quiet about my personal life, and that's always been sort of like in the spotlight. And that's kind of something that's just never dies, and to a certain extent, people just remember stuff. Certain people remember certain things forever. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've overshared too much, and you know. And then it, just like the line thing we were talking about, like oversharing something years ago. Right. You know, I'd never, share that now. I've just learned so much and become a different person almost.
The only thing I've regretted from oversharing and that I had to kind of become more aware of is when it had to do with other people. Like when I was telling stories about me and my wife or me and my family or something like that. Oh. And then like I didn't care that those details were out there. Like it didn't bother me at all. Yeah. But people had to sit me down and be like, yeah, but it bothers me. I didn't sign up to tell that story. And I was like, oh, it didn't even occur to me because I just thought it was a story.
Your wife was mad because she's like, I'm telling people we're just friends.
Yeah, I can totally sympathize with that. Empathize or whatever it is. I have done it so many times with so many people. I get like sweat, like flop sweat, just thinking about some of those conversations.
But then you'll always have a friend. Like, I would do with it, and girlfriends would get furious at me, and then my friend would say, yeah, babe, it's your life too, so you have the right to talk about it. Like, but it's like, yeah, but they know who she is. Like, there's always that weird line. Like, if I'm trying to be true to it and talk about my own life, how do I separate that person? So a lot of times I would change dates and times, which is hard to do if you're married, but I would change locations. I would change the year. I would exaggerate. I would lie a little bit just to take it off the person. Like, I would say, like, years ago, man, this girl did this, but really it was a girl I was dating now, or vice versa, just to try to mix it up. Didn't really make them feel better, but I figured they can't sue me.
I think there is something like, if you are in on all this, like you're part of it, like you were saying, like it all is sort of fair game in a certain sense. It's like my wife, like as like crazy as I've been and all this stuff, and I was, there's a certain extent to like. I'm like, it's documented that I'm pretty nuts, and it's been out there. It shouldn't be new information, it's not.
Yeah, to an extent, you did sign up for this. Yeah, like you knew when you signed up. We were talking about like how you change your perspective on like what your expectations were, and the working part of it. When you look at the amazing run that Patricia's been on the last couple years and the projects that she's done and this whole new wave of sort of attention that she's gotten for how good she is in these things, does that also make you look at things differently? Like, sometimes the right project comes along and all of a sudden you're just back.
Yeah, for sure. But it's also a matter of like being very selective, knowing, knowing what you want to do, and being sort of patient with the projects that you do, and getting the right team together, like who's directing it, who's producing it, who's co-starring it, how's the script. I mean, there's a lot of factors that I don't typically always, sign up for, but, it's important to take those into consideration. I mean, when you're at the top of the sort of game, it's a lot easier to make those picks and all that.
Yeah. When you got back into the wrestling thing, was there a goal of, and then maybe I'll get on TV, or maybe I'll do something with WWE, or maybe I'll do something like that? Or was it truly just, I'm just going to go through this process and I'm going to win respect from wrestling fans, and I'm just going to do this?
It mainly was like to get respect from, I don't know. Like, one of the main things was the first day filming. We went to this thing called Legends of Wrestling, and it was the night before, and we're in the bar, and then the Nasty Boys come in. Jerry Sachs and Brian Knobs, and Jerry Sachs grabs our camera and throws it down. We get in this barroom brawl, and it was all just happened. I went back to honor wrestling, but I did it the wrong way just to start off, or really the filmmakers, they hadn't asked anybody. So we got into a scrap, but it really was just to sort of, be accepted. I just didn't I hated being like, people don't know really who I am. They have an impression of who I am. And in this documentary, you get to see one side of like a part of aspects of who I am. But people are complex, and it's like to just judge people or bully people because of certain things, I don't know. I just wanted to kind of rewrite the ending and then just become one of the boys. Like when I'd walk into a locker room, just understand wrestling from more of a personal place.
Do you think you have that? Do you think if you walked into a locker room now, a lot more of the guys would know that you're kind of you're an insider a little bit more than an outsider?
Yeah, especially like some of the people coming up right now. I was wrestling while they were still in the indies, so it's like I seen them before they, even like gotten their big break, which was really exciting to see. Like a lot of these guys like Peter Avalon and Jungle Boy, he got his big break, like, you know, and just a lot of really great wrestlers out there. It was a great experience just to understand that world and be a part of it, and hopefully like the documentary works on different levels where people, if they don't even know what wrestling is, sort of have a better understanding of it.
And Definitely. David, before we let you go, you said something interesting about people have this one impression of a person, or they see one side. What's something they get wrong about you? Like what's something that people look at you and it's like, fuck, they get that how do they keep getting that wrong?
Just that I'm like some goofy little, I mean, I'm definitely goofy and I'm definitely silly and all that stuff, but that I'm some kind of pushover, like you could just, you know, punk me or something. I don't know. That's the main thing. Like, it's like in Hollywood, like all these tough guys play in these movies, but a guy like Scott Conn, who was in Ready to Rumble with me, could probably beat up most of everybody in Hollywood and, you know, a lot of people at WWE. He's a third degree Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. So he's, you know, he choked me out on the set of Ready to Rumble. But it's just an example of like, you know, you'd never think that, you know, knowing him, but he's also not getting punked the way I was getting punked. I mean, all these people just kind of like pushing me around. Like it would get into serious situations a lot of the time. I mean, like in the first scene in the movie where I get punched in the face.
So they take this silly side of yourself that you've shown voluntarily, and they think like, oh, this is who this guy is all the time, instead of realize like, no, it's a part of me that I've shown you on purpose and voluntarily. It's not, you didn't catch me doing that. I showed it to you.
Right, exactly. And we're all so much more complex. We all have our like feelings and our past and everything we've experienced up into now, and just to sort of make these snap judgments through what you know in movies or on social media is just kind of strange.
Yeah.
Well, Spree is a lot of fun. I'm a horror fan, so I really enjoyed watching it. It's on video on demand this Friday. And then, I mean, as a wrestling fan, I felt like You Cannot Kill David Arquette is not only amazing because, like, I didn't know about street wrestling in the lucha culture. You know what I mean? There's little things like that I learned, but I would also show it to, like, a friend who didn't really get wrestling because it really does dive into that sort of culture of what it is. But that documentary is going to be available on demand on the 28th of August. And then it'll be drive-in theaters the week before, the 21st of August. And then at some point, Scream 5 is coming, right? You're a part of Scream 5, right?
Yeah, I signed up, and Courtney Cox signed up, and we're just waiting on Neves Campbell. But we have great directors, and it's going to be a really fun movie.
That's awesome.
That's
awesome.
I'm excited for
awesome.
That.
Yeah, good talking to you, man. You're such an interesting and honest guy. It's always fun.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Sam. Appreciate you guys. Big fans.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. All right. Good luck with the film.
I'm a big fan. Okay, you too. Bye.
All right. Take care, David. You good?
Yeah, man. I love David Arquette.
I do too. He's great. He's just an open guy, and he's interviewing people who just answer questions and like actually think about something. It's just, people don't understand how many people don't do that. Like how frustrating it is when you get someone that only wants to push a product and they don't want to. Yeah. And it's like, you've always going to plug the film or whatever. I'm happy to do it. That's part of what we do. But a guy like that is just great because he just talks about anything. And then you're psyched to see his project because he's just, I don't know, he's just an interesting dude.
And it's weird that more people don't realize that if listeners like who you are, they'll support the project. Like, you can't just sell the project and they'll go like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to go check out this project. It's like if they go, oh, like I like David Arquette, I'm gonna go watch whatever it was that he's in because I'll check it out. You should watch if you get a chance, Jim. I
definitely will.
The documentary because it just really is such this interesting snap in a person. Like you know when you're messing around with somebody and you're slap fighting with them.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. You're slap fighting with them or you're wrestling around and then they catch you with an elbow or they hit you somewhere or it hurts too much and you just kind of snap and all of a sudden you get aggressive and you're not playing around anymore. You see that kind of switch when he's in this death match with this guy, Nick Gage, who's like this legit scary dude. and you see Arquette snap because like something has happened that he didn't expect to happen, and he's stabbed in the neck with a light tube, and like Nick Cage has this look on his face like, what the fuck are you doing, man? You do not turn this into a real fight here. Don't do this. And it's really interesting from a human behavioral perspective.
Yeah, I was in a slap fight. Like, you get into them, and sometimes you both start slapping harder. Like, you mean it to be, you start off light, and all of a sudden you're really slapping each other. And my face got hit with a piece of metal. And then it just became like a real physical altercation.
How would your face get hit with a piece of metal?
The charm bracelet. Bracelet.
Were you slap fighting with your grandmother?
Yes, I was. Got very violent.
Start throwing blows. Try to knock out your grandma, Jim?
No, it was just a slap fight that got out of control. We started this. We were stoned.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, and I'm excited about Scream 5. I'm like the Saw movies with the Scream movies. They can make Scream movies forever, as far as I'm concerned. I don't care how absurd it is for Deputy Dewey to come back. Deputy Dewey can be in 150 different Scream movies, and I'll watch every one of them. I'll buy the box set. Whatever you want from me, I'm on board for it.
Yeah. Well, should we break?
Take a break, Ski?
Yeah, kiss a little.
We don't need to kiss a little. We just take a break, and we could just talk about some other things instead.
All right.
If you want,
Sure.
Let's do it.
Yeah, all right.
Let's do it. Let's take a break. Still got Matt Iceman on the show today. A whole bunch to do. Stick around. We'll be right back. Speaking of old school stuff, did you see that there's one Blockbuster video store that's remaining in the United States of America. I think it's in Oregon.
It was. There was one in Alaska, which I think closed. Last one is I guess in Oregon. Wow.
Yes, I believe it's Oregon, and they are clearly it's a promotion. I don't know what it's a promotion for. I don't know if they just want to remind people that the store exists, but I think for 3 or 4 dates in September, they're listing it on Airbnb, and you can spend the night on a sofa bed in the Blockbuster video watching old movies on VHS.
Wow.
Which, I mean,
that's kind of cool. I mean, look, it's weird. It's retro. It's like this. It's just a weird thing to do to promote a business that's literally. I mean, you have an easier time fucking selling butter churns than fucking VCRs or VHS tapes. I mean, it's an arcane business, so they got to do anything to get people in the store.
I feel like it's one of those things that when I look at, I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But then if I actually did it, it would be like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'd be in this store on a sofa bed going, I should have just bought a VCR and plugged it into the TV in my bedroom. Could have been in my bed. Like, it's not like... I remember back when I was a kid and I would sleep in Blockbuster Video. Like, that's not the memory.
That's right. It doesn't bring back any memories. It doesn't do anything. It's just a weird thing. That's all. And I think it's kind of a cool idea.
Yeah. Look, anything that brings back the joys of physical media, I'm all about it. You know me. I'm the physical media guy.
I find that we hold on to it just because it feels like it's a tangible, holdable thing, but I don't need it. I don't fucking need it. Like, certain things, like the smell of, like, those old, like I like going on eBay. Did you ever go on, like, I'm sure you know, like you got wrestling programs, or, like, if you saw Rob Zombie, you'd buy, like, a concert program. Like, that type of stuff I love. And I'm a sucker for that shit.
You know what I'm looking for right now, and it's got to be somewhere. I know I don't want to buy a new one because I'm sure I bought one. The first wrestling show I ever went to was SummerSlam '92. It was in Wembley Stadium in England.
Wembley, yep.
It was in Wembley, and luckily
you trying to buy that empty seat that Hulk Hogan's talking about?
I was. I want the empty seat.
Yeah, have tears on it.
Although my dad was hoping the song was about me right before we went to Wembley, but it wasn't. I was able to fill that seat. But no, I want the program from that event. I know we bought a program. I bought a T-shirt from that show recently. I paid a ton of money for a T-shirt from that show. It's right over there. I bought a jacket from that show that was on sale for a ton of money. But I know that I bought a program from that show at that show. I just don't know where it is.
Oh,
but
it was
yes.
at Wembley Stadium?
At Wembley, yeah.
What year?
92.
Oh, it's got to be. That stuff's probably very gettable. Because you figure there was
gettable.
40,000 of them sold. Like, that's the thing. It was probably 40 or 50,000.
Yeah, at least.
Was it
90,000.
SummerSlam or WrestleMania?
It was SummerSlam.
How funny.
And there was 90. There was 90.
Right here.
There was never a WrestleMania.
Ultimate Warrior, Randy
they're
Savage,
available.
WWF, SummerSlam 1992 program,
Just
Wembley.
buy one.
It's $111.
I know. I want to find $111. I want to find mine.
Oh,
I want to find
you don't
mine
want to
that I
just
bought.
get one. Okay.
No.
What if
I got
Jess was
this.
systematically, slowly throwing away one thing every like 6 months, just to drive you crazy? Like I know,
it would drive me
have
crazy.
that. I know
would
I've got
drive-
it somewhere.
It would drive me crazy. And then eventually I find one thing in the trash, and I realize that many things have been thrown out, but I don't know what was thrown out.
And she won't admit it. She's like, I don't know what happened. It must have just fell in there.
It must have been Edgar.
Yeah.
I got this T-shirt, and it's in like perfect condition for SummerSlam 92.
That's a dope
And
T-shirt.
It's a dope. Not only is it a dope T-shirt, but a guy that I know, his name is Wrestling for Sale on Instagram. He got a whole shipment, like a pile of shirts that was in Bret Hart's closet. Like Bret Hart had just kept a whole bunch of stuff, and his son knows this dude on Instagram that sells all this retro wrestling stuff. So he was like, "Hey, I have this whole collection of stuff. Do you want it?" And so he sold all of this Bret Hart stuff that was actually owned by Bret.
Oh.
And that was one. That's where I got. That's one of the shirts.
Will you wear it?
I've tried it on.
You can
I
dry
might,
clean it.
like-
Just dry clean it. They have dry cleaners do that specialize in certain things. That, like, you can wear it.
I might wear it to like a show, or if there's like an occasion. Like I wouldn't just wear it. Like it's just
wear
one
it
of my
out to have
shirts.
coffee and wings.
Also, like I have kids, so I can't. Even if I can't just wear it around the house, because everything gets stuff on it now.
Yeah.
So, but if there was like a show that I was going to, or something where I wanted to, as I've always said, show out.
Sure.
I would probably wear that shirt to show out.
Well, let me ask you a question now, because I have a shirt, this really weird white shirt that I never wear, but it was a wrestling shirt. But I'm like,
Don't even bring it up.
Why?
Because it's so irritating that you would just have it and you wouldn't even. I know what shirt it is, and it's like the world knows you're a bad friend because it doesn't mean anything to you.
Didn't I give you
could
something from that night, though?
No,
I thought I gave you something in a card.
I don't think so.
I swear to God, I thought I did.
Maybe you meant to, and
I
you just
did.
never got around to it.
That's actually
so
true.
funny. If
I
you
did.
had, then I probably wouldn't be mad about it because I'd be like, I got this thing.
Not this shirt. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Oh, you know what? I just took a picture of it.
Yeah, I think you've sent me pictures of things, but that doesn't count as me having it. That still just counts as me knowing a guy that has merchandise from
Can I put
the
a
Shane
picture in these
McMahon.
chats?
The Shane McMahon
Yeah, you should
bachelor
be able to.
party.
If you
Merchandise.
yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there it is. Let me see. I mean, you had this ready to go at your disposal.
I just found it. I forgot I do have a picture of it.
I'm looking at what it is. I'm downloading it.
It's hard.
Oh my God. Yeah, do you have any idea how much clout I would get for having that item? It's a
Oh, right.
I sent
it's
two
a
of them.
green $100 bill, like fake $100 bill that says "In Shane We Trust," and there's a drawing of Shane McMahon with a sailor's cap on it, and it says 8/15/96, and that's from you performing at his bachelor party, right?
Yeah, and I'm trying to find. I have what are you looking at? The picture of his face or the back of it that says Casino Night?
No, a picture of his face, the front.
Oh, okay. The back of it has Casino Night 1996 in Shane We Trust on the back. Yeah, I got a picture. I think
That's
I have
an incredible pice of memorabilia.
I thought I hate to blow it. I meant to give you that, and I just I didn't. I really did. I meant to give you that.
I would have loved to have had it, because wrestling collectors don't even know it exists.
Yeah.
Like, that's how good it is. Like, there is Shane McMahon money, because when he had a match at WrestleMania, he made it rain from the sky with Shane McMahon $100 bills, but they didn't look like that. So that actually makes that even more special, because the Shane McMahon $100 bills from WrestleMania are cool, but the Shane McMahon bachelor party $100 bills, that's that real.
You know, it's funny. I was gonna just give it to you one day, like surprise you with it. I don't know why I didn't. Oh, you know what it was? Just because we haven't seen each other. We haven't been in person. This is what I was like in the last couple of months when I'm doing all this, like taking photographs of my stuff.
Oh yeah.
So
the project.
Yeah. So there you go.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I mean, no need to give it to him now. He's seen it.
He's seen it.
I got a picture of it.
Surprise!
I guess that's
ruined.
That's cool. It would have been. I mean, you would have seen it would have been a great you would have gotten a great reaction out of me.
What's the cash value of big plunge currency?
It's like regular currency, only fun.
Oh, $1,500.
Yeah, you would have gotten a big pop out of me.
Yeah, but I mean, again, by the time we see each other, the joy will be gone.
Yeah, I agree. There's no need to do that.
There's not.
I guess I'd just be satisfied with the photo then. That's cool. You have a T-shirt from the event too, yes?
Yeah, I do. It's in mint, perfect condition.
It is. Oh wow. Yeah, that would be a nice addition to anyone's collection, I should say.
Yeah.
Nice addition. But do you have it on display or anything like that, or?
I do. It's in a display in a box in my closet.
It's not a display.
Yeah, I was looking at other shirts in the darkness.
Yeah, a shadow box or
no.
No, of the cardboard variety.
That would be it. Yeah,
yeah, that's a nice display. Hey, you brought up WAP.
Yeah,
with David Arquette. You hear that Carol Baskin is not. She's not thrilled with the video. She's not thrilled.
Sure, I understand.
She thinks that it's a bad example that, showing the big cats. I hate when they call them big cats. Yeah. Showing big cats the way that Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion did is not good, because even though they were green screened in, she said real wild big cats would destroy any green screen. However, I believe the implication was, trust me when I tell you, if they can eat a dead body of your ex-husband, they will eat a green screen. That was what I took from what she was saying. But she said it sends the wrong message, because everybody that watches the video, I guess, will want to put tigers in front of green screens. I didn't really get the details on it. I didn't really understand.
I didn't either. But
no, I feel like she's got. I feel like Carol Baskin has bigger fish to fry than worrying about Cardi B. If I were Carol Baskin, I'd probably lay low and not complain about anybody else.
Yeah, it seems like she's trying to use a diversionary tactic.
Yeah, because I'm thinking Cardi B comes out and she goes, "Yeah, that may have been a mistake, but I'm also against killing husbands and feeding them to animals." So that's something I feel strongly about.
Yeah, she's a real stick in the mud.
Yeah, she
comes
is.
to that.
Yeah.
Well,
hey, cool cats and kittens.
Hey, cool cats and kittens. It's enraging.
Yeah. She's still going after people. She's like, maybe you can find people like this. She was going after Doc Antle. She mentioned Doc Antle again. Isn't it funny that the whole Carol Baskin, Joe Exotic, Doc Antle, like, even to bring it up now, you're like, nobody's talking about that anymore.
Yeah. But it's still their lives.
It's not only is it still their lives, but we're still quarantined. Like, we're still in the same spot that we were in when that show came out.
Yeah.
That's how long we've been doing this.
The time has been moving at a pretty good pace. Like, I don't feel like things are dragging for some reason. Like, I can't believe the summer's almost over. But it only seems like a long time when you think back to something you did at the beginning of the quarantine. You're like, oh my God, it feels like it was 1985. Like, just something whether it was when I was in chip TikToks at one point. That seems like fucking forever ago. Oh, by the way, we didn't even discuss how much truth I wanted. And I've heard they skipped phase 3 testing, but the Soviets, Vladimir Putin is announcing that the Russians may have a vaccine and Putin is claiming that his daughter has been inoculated. Obviously, if it's coming out of Russia, you got to just kind of keep your hopes down. And I am hearing that they did not do phase 3, which is like a big test on a lot of people where you see side effects. But I bet it does work.
I like that you say I'm hearing, as if like you heard from your conversations within the medical community. Here's what I'm hearing.
Well, yeah, I did. I called a doctor. I texted my doctor friend. You may know him, you may not know him. I don't want to say his name, but he did say. But he pointed out that they didn't do this phase 3, which is where a lot of the side effects on big groups of people, I guess, are realized. But we're getting close to something. And then by the time they manufacture it, we're going to be stuck like this till early next year. But there's at least the vaccine will happen sooner or later.
You think they cared more about being first than it actually?
Yeah, but I don't even care. They did, but you know what? The World Health Organization can fucking eat my dirty asshole. I've had enough of them. I've had enough of these fucking bummers.
They don't approve the vaccine.
Oh, fuck them.
The FDA.
I know. No.
Anyway,
I'm saying them and the FDA. All of them. I'm a little sick of them. Well, we got to see. I'm a little tired of it. It's like, get to it.
Yeah.
Cut the red tape, you shitheads.
They're doing it. They're in
Fuck
phase 3.
Look at Travis, the old WHO cuck that he is.
Absolutely sure
Fuck
is.
them is
Nothing
right.
to do with them.
Yeah, it
Fuck
sure
them.
is.
Wow, but maybe it's on another note. It doesn't mean don't fuck them. I say this, regardless of whether they have anything to do with the vaccine or not. Fuck them.
Well, not
I'm
really
just tired of them. That's all. I'm tired of them, and I do want to see drug prices come down. And it's like I hate with stuff like this. Where it's funny that like they're saying that the Russians tried to hack and steal information about research. Well, then why aren't you just giving it to them? What the fuck is there a competition about? I know it's about finances and whatever company does it. But if we really cared about this together, why would they have to steal information? Why aren't people just sharing the information to find this thing that will stop a pandemic? That's what annoys me. I hope the Russians do steal it, and I hope they do get it first, and they immediately put it on the market. I don't care who gets it first.
Are you or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party? Because that's how you're coming across right now, old Red Jimmy.
Look, I've said better red than dead, but I was talking about eating pussy. And I said it the opposite way because I hate period.
Here's the issue.
Oh, no, I did. I said it right. Oh, God.
Don't even worry about it, Jim.
I blew the joke. It was right.
It's
I fumbled.
It's overthinking. It's
No, I fumbled.
It's a dumb locker room joke, and we can overthink it for a
but
while.
I fumbled it. Not only did I fumble it, this
Tell me.
was, for any football fans, I was right now, it's the Super Bowl, and it was Jackie Smith in the end zone. Now, I understand that nobody on this panel remembers that. I do.
No.
Jackie Smith in the end zone of Super Bowl 13.
That sounds like it's a pre-COVID thing. I don't know anything that happened pre-COVID. I'm a topical guy. When did Jackie Smith play? Sounds like a girl's name anyway.
It was a guy who was a tight end, and it was
Nice.
Super Bowl 13 Cowboys against the
Super Bowl
Pittsburgh Steelers.
13.
Yep, it
What was
was
that in like 1908?
It was 1979, if I remember correctly, and it was
That's before
Bradshaw
permanent
against
vacation.
Staubach. They lost 35-31, and Lynn Swann just destroyed the Cowboys that day, if I remember correctly. But Jackie Smith, he dropped a pass that may have put Dallas ahead or tied it. I don't remember, but it's one of my most vivid sports memories. I was 12 or 13 when it happened. Oof, whatever. Who gives a shit? It's just a famous fumble.
That's before Corona, so I don't really know much about that. But
Yes, but it had
there
a worse
is.
effect. It had a worse effect than Corona.
Look at this. This is not in HD, by the way. The video
No,
that
but
I'm
look at this.
watching
Look at
right
this.
now. Look at him. He gets it. Oh, he dropped it. What a
He was
piece
on
of
his
shit.
knees alone in the end zone, and he dropped it. I think they got a field goal.
What a garbage football man.
I-
What
I-
a
it's-
garbage dude. Isn't that great when like you could be good enough that you're a professional footballer and you go to the Super Bowl and you're so amazing, and that one play 30, 40 years later has a guy that doesn't even watch football going, what a hunk of shit that guy is.
Dude, it just hit it. It was a perfect touchdown pass. I'll never forget.
You shouldn't.
Wow.
Never
I'm
forget.
watching it now, and it's making me angry again. I don't know exactly what the score was. 35-31 was the final, and I don't remember if it was 35-28 Pittsburgh, and that would have tied it, Or I just don't remember exactly when it was, but god damn was that fucking frustrating.
Yeah, this is the original Never Forget. Yeah. Super Bowl 13. Dumb Jackie Smith.
Dumb Jackie
Hate that guy.
Smith. And obviously
Hate
people
that
said,
guy.
let's see, 7. So I'm looking at the scores. We talk 14.
What's the score?
21-14 halftime. And then it's, hold on. That 21-17. Yeah. 21-17. And maybe that was the third quarter. That was probably the third quarter, and it would have been, it would have tied it. But that in the third quarter, I think. All right, so whatever.
What a hunk of trash. That's what I say about Jackie Smith. He had no business on that field.
It's like Buckner, though. They said that he's one of the reasons they even got to the Super Bowl, but I don't want to hear that shit.
No, I don't want to hear it. No, doesn't matter what you did before the big game.
Damn right.
If you could take
80
me to
years
the
old, by the
champion,
way. He's 80.
Good.
I still want to choke him.
Yeah, you should. You ever see him on the street? Let's go to one of those old-timers conventions and choke him to death.
Yeah, it was a third down pass in the end zone. Kept the trail 21-14 would have tied it. Fucker.
After all these decades, how do you think he feels? He goes to autograph signings now, and people still go up to him and be like, man, you're great, but what happened? What happened? It's like, I don't want to talk about this anymore, man. That was Super Bowl 13. There's been so many more Super Bowls since then. I know, but what happened out there, man? What went wrong? If we got him on the show, would you ask him about it?
No, that'd be the best part. I would avoid it totally. I would talk about anything but that. And as he would say, all right, good talking, I would say, by the way, the fact that you dropped that pass, I still hate your fucking guts. And then we'd hang up. No, actually, you're only correct. That would be the whole interview. Jackie Smith, thank you for joining us. Oh, you're welcome. You dropped a pass in Super Bowl 13. I hate your fucking guts. And we would hang up on him. That would be the entire interview. I like that better.
I'm all for it. Let's see if we can get Roland to book a Jackie Smith phoner. Just to let him know.
He'll get the wrong person, though. Jackie, no, she died of cancer. No, that was Onassis. That's not the Jackie.
Different Jackie.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, though. The real problem is that if Russia actually does have this, what's it called for the disease? Vaccine. If they actually have the vaccine, it's going to be real tough for us to still brag about winning the space race. Winning the race to find a vaccine for COVID, maybe more. I mean, it's going to save more lives than the space race. That's for sure.
Well, we lost the space race. We won the moon race. We lost the space race. Sputnik this is called Sputnik 2, which is another fuck you to the United States, and good for them. We lost the space race. They put the guy in space first. They were in space first, and they had a man circling first spacewalk. They did all that shit.
He walked on the moon first?
No, we had the moon we won, but circling the Earth and
big deal.
So
big deal. Yeah, but you know what? When somebody just circles the Earth and doesn't walk on the moon, they come back with the type of stories that astronaut had that did our show. Okay, I'm not impressed.
You know, I wish I had seen this doc because again, he's a very even-keeled guy, and I wish we could have that one back because even though he was a boring interview, no, I know.
You ask good questions, dude. You ask good questions. And he made you out to be an ass because he had nothing interesting to say.
Maybe.
I will never forgive him for that. Never. And by the way, he did not walk on the moon. He ranks with the Russians to me. Well, when I think astronauts, I think of people that walked on the moon. Then again, look, I'm impressed by these astronauts because either they walked on the moon or they got to meet Stanley Kubrick. Either way, that's huge. It's huge. Even if the moon landing was fake, then I'd be like, no problem, guys. I'm still impressed. What was Kubrick like to work with? I'm still ready to ask him questions.
It was 1965. Alexei Leonov. He was the first person to spacewalk, and he was tethered to his spaceship by a 16-foot cable, and he's floating. And when you look at the footage, it's so obviously very, very grainy footage, but it's
somehow
amazing.
We got much better footage.
We certainly did.
Somehow our cameras worked like miracles up there, but the Russians couldn't get the video technology. I wonder how we pulled that off.
Our cameras, though, in fairness, were I guess on the moon
ground.
His were kind of above. It's crazy to watch him doing this, though. Like
Yeah,
I think he was
they
alone.
they didn't have access to the same sound stage that we did.
Oh, that might be it. God, he just floated above the... It's so crazy that he actually got out of that fucking... Wow. Yeah, I'm looking at it. It looks like he's just falling. They say it's very difficult for you to actually get yourself to step out in space because you're afraid
Just
of
because
falling.
it's such a...
You're falling.
Yeah.
I mean, you are falling,
Right.
and they call it
Because there's no
low
gravity. Yeah.
There's gravity, but
Yeah.
it's very low, and you are
Right.
plummeting. That's why you
Right.
float. Everything's falling at the same speed, which is so crazy. Like you have a drop of
that's
water.
interesting. Got it.
That's
Yeah,
why
yeah,
you're
yeah.
floating. Everything
Right.
is plummeting at exactly the same speed with no air.
That's wild.
Because if you have a vacuum, like a vacuum, an airless room, and you drop a feather and a bowling ball, they'll hit the ground at the same time because the thing makes them different is the air resistance. So when you're
So that means-
plummeting in space, you're literally
Whoa.
everything is just plummeting at the same fucking. It's crazy. Towards
So
the Earth,
space
but the angle is great, so you miss the planet and just keep falling.
That means space is like a great strip club. Bottomless. You know what I'm saying, right, Jim?
I don't. I wish I didn't.
No alcohol served in space, am I right? Bottomless.
It's true. BYOG. Bring your own gravity.
That's right. There it goes. There it goes. I knew you'd bring it home for me. That's that give and take.
Speaking of plummeting, but it is crazy to watch and realize that's what's happening. And they said when you step out for the first time, because we see that they're floating, but in that moment, I guess you're really moving, and it probably feels like you're stepping out and you're going to fall to the earth.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. It probably is so freaky. But the Earth is plummeting at the same speed as everything else.
Well, the earth is not. The earth is just spinning. You're falling towards the earth on an angle, so you're missing it because the angle, the earth is spinning, keeps you falling around it, and I guess the gravity
I see.
keeps you. I guess again, I'm explaining in complete the best ability I have, which is very very little. Dr. Steve would be amazing at this. He would be able to tell us exactly. Michio Kaku would have no idea. It's like being a dust mite floating on top of a soft. Shut up.
Yeah. Try to break it down like we were 2 years old.
Yeah, it's like being a gummy bear when a person eats you. I want to know.
It's like an episode of Chippendale Rescue Rangers. Nobody's watching cartoons, bro. We're adults, okay? Just because we're not astrophysicists
right.
doesn't mean we can't comprehend concepts.
A teeny bit of it, yeah. Like I think Neil
little
deGrasse
bit.
Tyson is a great explainer.
Yeah.
He's a great explainer of things, and so is Brian Greene. I think his name was very good, and Dr. Steve, who was obviously a doctor, but was also, I believe, a physics major. So Steve is a genius and understands physics very, very well. I mean, again, not like Michio Kaku does, I'm sure, but he understands quite a bit of it. So when you have a physics question or a space question, Dr. Steve is really good to go to. And
like
then you're
Neil
always going
deGrasse-
to get some good violent lovemaking after.
That's the benefit of Dr. Steve.
Yeah, I'm a two-holer.
I like Neil deGrasse Tyson because he uses his tone of voice to kind of give Troy an eye roll after every question that Troy asks him. Like Troy is a total idiot and shouldn't be asking anything. Yeah.
I think Neil would probably punch me in the face if allowed.
I think
Sure, he's
like
a big
that.
ex-wrestler, too. He's a genius, but he's also an alpha guy who could probably pick you up and throw you out a window. He's a big dude and a strong guy, and again, he was a heavyweight wrestler in college. He doesn't fucking play games physically.
I think Neil deGrasse Tyson would like to hit the mat with Troy and just see what happens.
Yep.
I think he'd enjoy that process.
Did you guys ever see that footage? Because he's a competitive guy, and we had him on UFC Unfiltered. And and Matt Serra could strangle a freight train, and they were talking about it, and Matt was demonstrating him a choke. It was more Neil deGrasse Tyson kind of pushing it, like thinking he would be able to get out of it. But did we ever talk about that? And then you see Matt,
I don't think so,
wrapping him up in it, like just demonstrating it, and Neil is saying like he could do this and that, but once he realized how Matt choked somebody, he realized like, oh, I'm helpless. It was interesting to see.
Wow, that's
but he's
really
very it's on Instagram somewhere. He's very competitive too. Like he's a competitive guy. He's which maybe is why he's so good in astrophysics, because he wanted to succeed at something.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have to
thought
piss.
you.
So do you want to keep talking? I'm going to take a leak. You can keep
Okay,
talking
yeah.
if you want. If you don't want to break, I'll be 2 seconds. If you want to just chat with Mike and Troy and Travis and the gang, I'll be right back.
Go take a leak, because I've
And then
always
tell me how
wondered
you thought of me. Right now I'm crashing at Hargis's, so I'm just go to the bathroom.
Oh, I was wondering, because you're
Yeah.
clearly not crashing at Shinkles anymore.
Nah, I was crashing at Shinkles. Now I'm crashing at Hargis's. I'll be right back.
I see. That's why it looks like a boiler room. I was going to ask Troy, you remember we had Kubrick's like right-hand guy on? Remember when we had him on way back when? It was one of our LA shows. And we had him on just talking about everything. And I remember bringing up the conspiracy theory that Stanley Kubrick filmed the fake moon landing. And I don't know if you could, he looked at me in that room like I had 3 heads. Like it was the weirdest thing he had ever heard. Like, what are you even talking about? Which, it's one thing if it didn't happen, but it really caught me off guard that he acted like that topic had never even been broached to him. Which, the more I think about it, the more it's like, I wonder if you were covering it up a little too much. You know?
Seem a little suspicious?
Yeah, I was like, because he would have at least heard about it. It's not like I'm the first person to bring it up. There's a whole documentary where that's a third of it, like, is all about the moon landing, and Danny wearing the spaceship sweater means that Stanley Kubrick shot the moon landing and all this stuff. There's no way that the right hand of Kubrick has never even heard this theory before. And the more I've thought about it recently, the more I'm like, I wonder if that's why he acted like he was so like, I have nothing to say about that, because I've never even heard that theory before.
Oh,
Yeah,
the guy
it's
who's
probably
yeah.
It's probably a sensitive subject around there. I would imagine. Yeah, I mean, now, I would love to, if you guys talk to him again, I'd love to ask
Press
him
him
some
on
other
it?
questions. Yeah, but, at the time. But, but it was funny to hear him react like that.
Well, I was just saying, Jim, that when we talked to Kubrick's guy, he acted like he had never even fathomed, like that theory was brand new news to him when we brought it up.
Yeah, he's probably
And I
heard
said,
it.
yeah, that's why I came across a little suspicious. He probably heard the theory when they planned it.
It's funny, I thought of him yesterday. You have interesting timing as I was thinking about Clockwork Orange and how he said any extra footage or deleted scenes are gone. There's nothing, which really bums me out.
Me too. I was watching, like, as they put up Bill and Ted test shot footage.
Yes, I saw
like
that.
they have Keanu and Alex testing with different people and testing with each other. And yeah, I mean, can you imagine if they had all the characters from Clockwork Orange doing their tests and everything together? That would be such great footage to have.
Yeah, I mean, it really bums me out that there's nothing. There's a couple of photos I've seen. It's in the scene where they beat the bum up, like when the 4 guys approach. Could you spare some cutter, brother? That guy. And they just kick the dog shit out of him. And it's such a great scene. So I've seen like photos of like Kubrick or whatever, like talking to those guys or talking to them in the scene where they rape the woman, the writer's wife. But that's all I've ever seen that's considered extra footage is those little photos.
Unfortunately, that might be a Kubrick thing because the Apollo 11 tapes are also they don't exist anymore. The actual master tapes.
So you think it might just be a Kubrick thing? Because it does say here an exhaustive 3-year search for some tapes that contain the original footage of the Apollo 11 moonwalk has concluded they were probably destroyed during a period when NASA was erasing old magnetic tapes and reusing them to record satellite data. It is a little far-fetched. I mean, I know Carson did the same thing.
Yeah, but NASA's moonwalk?
That's a little far-fetched to think that they would tape over the moonwalk. Like,
wait, don't they have the footage, though? They do have the footage, but not the original.
They have copies of it, sure. But the original master tapes are no longer there.
That's weird.
Right, the unedited original masters. So you're thinking that maybe Kubrick just liked to erase his masters.
Yeah, this has Kubrick's fingerprints all over it.
Yeah.
Look, Troy, when you're crazy, but when you're onto something, you're onto something. You know, there are coincidences here. There are some things that make you go, You know,
that's exactly right.
Yeah. Jim, what do you think of Nurse Ratched getting her own spin-off series? Did you hear that Netflix is doing a Nurse Ratched series?
You know, I obviously who's playing her? I mean, Louise Fletcher was. So I did not hear that.
Yes, I think
that might be interesting though.
Sarah Paulson, right?
Sarah Paulson.
Oh, Sarah Paulson's very good.
The trailer looked very good.
It did well. Ryan
But
Murphy's doing it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's very Ryan Murphy.
What do you mean it's very Ryan Murphy? He did OJ.
No, I mean
Greatest
like
TV season of all time.
I mean, it's very Ryan Murphy in his like the color palettes and stuff like it. It looks
like the minute you see it, you
like,
know
oh,
it's a Ryan Murphy.
Yeah,
show.
it looks promising. Yeah.
Nurse Ratchet's. I mean, look. Now let me ask you, what does it cover? Ain't nobody jerking off, motherfucker. I'm in here hiding with your ass. Scatman Crothers was fucking great in that.
Yeah.
Where's that big no-talking motherfucker when he wanted the chief? That big no-talking son of a bitch. God, is that a great film. That might be my favorite movie of all time, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
I just bought it on iTunes 2 days ago. It was $5.
Isn't it just a masterpiece?
Yeah, it's
is a
incredible.
masterpiece,
Yeah, I just didn't have it on digital.
What?
Yeah, it's the
what
origin
era
story.
is it? Before or after? Sorry, is that before or after McMurphy's stay that this is supposed to take place?
It must be before.
Oh, it's way
her
before.
origin.
This is like when she first just started work. Like this is how she became who she was in that film.
Oh.
Which I know that Jim, you love an origin story.
I don't mind if it's the first one. 19. Isn't it funny? It's like
What? Isn't it
58
what?
years later. They're making Ratched. Okay,
Yeah.
I will probably watch it. Is what's her name? Now, is she still alive, Louise Fletcher, or did she die?
I have no idea. However, she would be very old to be playing an origin Nurse Ratched.
Yeah, I don't think she'd be
No.
able
What
to
I was
play
saying is, what's that? Could they give her
she's
like
alive.
a
She's 86.
Could they give her a cameo as something
Like in Titanic? Like she could be like she could be at the end of Ratchet, just throwing the jewel into the ocean?
She did have a recurring role on the Netflix series Girl Boss in 2017.
Oh, you know what? I did not realize that. Okay. She was pretty
Travis's
sexy when she
favorite
was
show.
young, like 1961. She was
I model
cute.
my own, work ethic over.
Yeah. Travis, one time he marched into McClure's office and he demanded to be treated more like the girl boss that he is.
God, was she hateable in that film. In the book,
You don't think
he
she's a good
rips her
person?
shirt open. I think it's either Billy Bibbit, or it might be McMurphy. He rips her shirt open when he's choking her, and her big tits pop out, and that's just like this great humiliation for her that her tits are on display in front of all the asylum inmates. But they didn't show that in the film for some reason.
Do you want to hear a little of the trailer?
Oh yeah, definitely.
For the series, for the
Yeah,
Netflix
yeah, of
series.
course.
I don't think
long trailer. It's like 3 minutes.
Well, let's give it a little. Let's just give it a little listen. Doesn't have to be the whole thing.
It does.
Give it a little
doesn't come
listen,
out
Sam. A little
Okay.
listen. I'm crashing at Hargis. It's not my place. I'm unfamiliar.
No, I know you're questioning Arquette right now.
Let's give it a little listen.
Looks like a boiler room. It comes out on the 18th of September, by the way. So not for a little
September.
while. Okay. A lot of visuals going on and stuff. But
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean,
it's
look, I'd see it.
What is this? American Horror Story? Is this Feud? Is this
Yeah.
Hollywood with the prostitute gas station? Is this?
September's going to be great. You got Ratchet and then you got Fargo.
Oh, I'm
Chris
so
Rock,
excited
yeah.
that Fargo is coming back.
Yep.
I didn't really watch season 3. I gotta be honest with you. I can't lie to you guys at home. I didn't really watch season 3. Okay, I'll come clean about that.
It's watchable.
But it's just season 1 and season 2 are
Incredible.
both such masterpieces.
Incredible.
They're both so good, and depending on the mood you're in, one is better than the other. But I'm very much looking forward to season 4. And what Chris Rock is doing some weird stuff now, man. Chris
Yes,
Rock is
he
getting
is.
into this kind of horror-y, dramatic space. He's doing this season of Fargo, and he's still, I guess it's supposed to come out next year now. It's supposed to come out this year, but his take on Saw, that he's the executive producer of relaunching the Saw franchise.
Because everyone's getting in trouble for comedies. So he's probably like, what the fuck am I
Pretty
doing?
smart.
Everyone's getting
Pretty
ruined.
smart.
It's like the same thing you want to do is you want to attack people. You might as well just do it in a horror film and cut their throats that way. It won't get you in trouble in 2021.
Yeah, it's like we were talking to David Arquette. Like, you would have a tough time remaking American Pie, but you could do Scream movies until you're blue in the face.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing this. I love Chris, so I'll definitely watch his
season 4 of Fargo.
Oh, my God,
Did you watch those first 2 seasons that I watched?
Billy Bob was season 1, and season 2 is Martin Freeman, I think, right?
Yes. Martin Freeman and Billy Bob were the same season.
They were. Then I only saw season 1. What was season 2? Oh, was that
Season
Jesse
2's
Plemons?
with
What was Jesse Plemons?
Yeah.
Jesse Plemons and
Jesse Plemons was season, and Kirsten Dunst, his wife.
Yeah, but who's the guy that we've had in? Patrick
William H. Macy.
No,
Bobo.
Patrick Duffy.
not Patrick Duffy. We've never had Patrick Duffy. I would have gotten a photo
Patrick
with him.
Stewart.
Patrick Wilson.
You got a photo? Patrick Wilson. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he's in season 2. Yeah.
He's so good looking.
He is
He's
good
such a
looking.
handsome guy.
Yeah,
He's
he
a
is.
good looking guy. Yeah.
And so personable.
He's so personable. I sat in front of him at Metallica. We said hello to each other. I was like, man, he's even handsome when you're not interviewing him. And he's a good singer, too.
Yes, he is.
Do you know what I can't wait for
mention that.
in Ratchet, by the way? When they
What?
introduced Will Sampson. See, because Chief Bromden was in the asylum long before McMurphy got there, and he is committed. So I'm hoping they show the backstory on Chief Bromden.
Oh, it could be like a Better
Could
Call
be.
Saul situation where it's really backstories on everyone.
Why not? I mean,
Right.
Tabert.
Why not?
Or fucking, why not? You broke my fucking window. Fucking, and Jimmy, Christopher Lloyd played Tabor, and how about his backstory? How did he wind up there? How did Crazy Billy Bibbit wind up there? How did fucking, what was his name in it? Danny DeVito was in that. It played, is that not Banshee? I forget his name in that, but he was a Martini.
Martini. I'm just thinking of the scene in Better Call Saul where you meet Mr. White's character for the first time.
Which one was that?
It was the one where he's driving by. You remember that?
Oh,
He told
yes.
us-
He rolls down the window. I'm Walter White. He drives away.
It's my favorite introduction to a series of all time.
That's
I'm
great.
Walter White.
Yeah, he's got his hat on. He drives away. He's very menacing.
Why would he? He's still a physics teacher. Why would he be menacing?
Or maybe it's something else. Like maybe he's buying chicken one time, and Gus is there, and he looks out and he says something about that man is going to be a problem someday. Like he's arguing about the chicken, and he's saying the chemicals in this chicken don't add up, or something. All right, we should get Matt Eisman on the program. He's here.
I'm going to tell you something, guys. That man may not look like a lot, but someday he's going to be a real problem.
He's going to be a problem.
And then he goes like this. I'm Walter White.
I'm Walter White. Yeah, you're goddamn right.
And they move on to the next scene. Look
Speaking
who's
of
taking
handsome.
some tips. My God, somebody's gone to the Robert Kelly School of Zoom.
That's right.
And is really.
You know what, dude? I just upgraded my camera, and it really looks better, huh?
It looks
I'm
good,
going to tell you
man.
something. Be honest, Jim. I think because Matt Eisman he's an attractive man,
Yes.
and I saw you push in, but I can't see the earpiece. But it's one of those. It's wireless. Matt. He's got an IFB.
These are the what are they? Jerry Harvey.
It's hard to hear you. Do you
for Ninja.
could you put your mic a
Is my
little?
mic not up?
There it is.
There it is. That's
Perfect.
perfect.
Thank you, buddy.
Matt Eisman has he's
Sammy, I
defeated.
knew I was coming on with a professional broadcaster and
Last.
the runner-up of the Tournament of Laughs, so I had to step up my game.
I can't take credit for that. That's all Lyle. I just sat there and twitched and did nothing while he did all the legwork, as he likes to tell me.
Gotcha. You are. I know you've heard it. You're my champion, Jimmy.
Oh, thank you very much, Matt. Thank you.
thought
Yeah,
were
people
just
were very
spectacular
supportive.
in that competition, man. How did you do those videos, by the way?
I did them. I shot them all on my iPhone with a green screen, and Coke Logic did the editing. And I would send him. I'd go into iMovie and I would chop it up the way I wanted it, and then I would send it to him for the final, putting the sound together. And he put the graphics in. He did the animation. He's great. So he was really helpful.
So you shot that was it was really well done, bud. I was impressed with those videos.
Thank you, buddy. Yeah, I just shot it here
You
on the
didn't
iPhone.
have an overly plastic surgeon Lance Burton introducing you, but other than that, no offense. Lance,
Don't you love that?
He is magic.
Matt Eisman is in the Chip Army. He's trashing Piff too. He's there.
I didn't
man.
trash Piff. Listen, Piff is he
didn't do anything
fantastic.
wrong.
I think he's a great performer. I'm biased. I do know Chip, and And I think comedy wise, I was laughing. I was laughing more with you. So
thank you.
It is
That's fair to say. That's fair.
That's
fair.
Laughs.
And you will be receiving for your friendship. You will be receiving a new Chip Army shirt when they are.
How did I not know? Are there really Chip Army shirts?
So there's new ones who are. This is the first anyone's ever hearing of it. They will be available shortly, and you will be given a Chip Army shirt, being that you are a good friend to Sergeant General Chipperson.
Wow,
Sergeant General.
Yeah,
Sammy, I have a feeling you're not even getting one of those, so now I'm feeling really special.
It's huge. No, I haven't even. I don't think I will. I kind of hope I don't. Here's the problem, man.
you will get one, and you will don it.
I will probably not get one because I was given a Chip Chipperson mug for Christmas as a Christmas gift, and I broke it.
Yeah.
I broke it.
Were you putting your apple juice in there? And it
yeah, but I was like, "Where's the top?" My sippy cups have tops.
Yeah.
Yes.
What happens if I make a spilly?
No, he was
so
making
I
a drink,
it, and I got
milking a horse
So-
over it.
Jimmy, did you see a big boost from doing the show?
No, here's the
Social media
beauty.
numbers and
The words I saw zero boost. That's the best part. When you do Chip jokes only for people who already like Chip, like
right.
making Craig Schenkel cry is not going to win one new person over. It was all done to entertain the people already in the room. There was no walk up business. Everyone in the room had fun, and that was kind of the goal of it.
I did think your Craig was just spectacular.
Thank you. Yeah,
It was great. Well, I mean, but and are you going out? Are you doing any comedy?
No, I mean, not even on this show. I'm literally not. I'm not going anywhere yet, but I will eventually. I'm thinking maybe October, November. It really depends on what happens in September. I have Boston date, and it depends on what Massachusetts is doing and what we're allowed to do.
Yeah.
But eventually I'll go back out. But I want to go out as myself, and of course I want to do some Chip shows. I think they'll be a lot of fun. I got to do a couple.
That'll be a real ego check. The Jim shows versus the Chip shows.
Well, I'll tell you, the Chip shows sell better and faster. Like, it's crazy how Jim's tickets lag while Chip is fucking soaring. So I'll take it where I can get it,
Yeah. The two indicators of success. They sell better and they sell faster. So it's not even like...
I prefer to sell slow and low and just, really perform for an intimate group.
Yeah. Sometimes tickets sell so slowly that even the show happens and the tickets still haven't been sold.
Yeah, a lot of times the clubs will spin it. They'll be like, how great would it be instead of 5 shows if we just did 3? And I'm like, you know what? That's a much easier schedule for all involved.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Geez.
So I would sit here right now, based on how this has gone. I know it's only a few minutes in, but Jim, would you take the King of Zoom crown away from Robert Kelly and give it to Matt Iseman? I kind of feel like you have to.
I indeed I would. Bob is the king of Zoom in that he has good equipment before anybody else had it. But now that when you see what a handsome person looks like with that same setup, all Bob did was lay the groundwork for potential.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I have a challenge with my enormous dome. Bobby's head, lighting it, the light bounces off his dome. He has to be a master lightsmith to have that looking decent.
Yeah, he actually has a drone flying over him with a light. It's lighting him like Escape from New York.
He's got to sweat so much in that little hut.
Yeah, his little shed. He has this shed in his yard, and it's actually a pretty cool setup. He has the Howard Stern setup, which is great because Howard did a lot for him. And but he has a great setup.
He does have a big Howard Stern painting in his shed.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
He's a fan.
He doesn't have one of the Opie and Anthony show with Jim Norton, which really gave him his start.
No, I would. I mean, it's just.
He doesn't have
unloyal Bobby Kelly.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, you know what, dude? Papa Bowie, dude.
I'll tell you, he seems good for him though for having set up that podcast for that podcast studio, and I know he and Kelt are doing that. Their show.
Yeah, I think 5 nights a week or 6 nights a week they're doing it.
Yeah, for all the comics, the ones who are just doing stand-up, it's got to be scary. I mean, I'm sure they're all podcasting, but sure, if you didn't have an audience, it's a tough time to build that.
Well, Mike Holt is crazy because, Bobby's a comedian with a comedian schedule. Mike's getting up in the morning and doing like a 4-hour terrestrial radio show, and then doing that broadcast at night, getting up the next morning, and on Saturday night. And I've done it once as Chip, and it was really fun. They do this, they call it the jerk-off party, where you're just kind of hanging out in their Patreon Zoom room. And there's like 40 people. There's a girl showing her tits, like showing her. It's like a wild hang.
It's like pal talk from the day.
Yeah. It's great. It's like,
But that was your
show.
schedule, Jimmy, when you were doing it, when you were doing mornings and you were going out doing comedy. You were definitely burning the candle at both ends for a long time.
I was, yeah. And as a result, the content on both ends suffered.
Yeah. Sometimes being present and being good are far apart.
Mm-hmm.
But
technically, the contract says you have to be present.
I have to be present.
So you did abide by the contract.
My sense for Calta, though, is, and I'm going through this, of being home, that he's probably just stir crazy. And I think obviously he jives well with Bobby, but I think for a lot of people, it's, if you're sitting home, why not jump on and have something that you feel like you're, having some semblance of an interaction with people.
And you feel like you're moving forward in your career because you're working. Like you're doing something. Like Bobby's doing something now that he hasn't done. He's doing this daily show, I guess, with Mike. And that week, and it's like 6 days a week. It's a fucking real schedule. So it's got to feel good. Like when you're not doing gigs, to at least be making some money. And Patreon is awesome. I mean, for Chip, I love it. Eventually, if Jim Norton will ever eventually do it someday, probably it's great to have, man. It's a nice piece of income. Pays your bills.
Well, the Chip Army, you got to mobilize them.
They do, even though Chip misspells Army.
Get that monthly income.
Who would you say does better? Because you're both on Cameo, Jim. I know there's Jim Norton on Cameo, and then there's also Chip Chipperson on Cameo. Do you pay attention to the numbers? Are they about even?
Jim Norton, let's be honest. I started my own less than 2 months ago. I have not done that many. I have done less than 80 cameos. I've started probably a month or two ago. So it's okay. It's a nice little thing to do. Yeah.
80 is still cool. And Chip has done how many?
I believe he's one shy of 1,500.
Oh my God. That is fantastic.
Yeah. It's okay.
But Cameo, I'm on Cameo too, and it is a great thing where you just to be able to do it where because I would do those videos like for my friends' kids or whatever, just ninja stuff, and the fact that people will actually pay you to do it, and because I remember this when someone said why do you enjoy doing them, and I thought growing up I remember watching the $6 Million Man, and the idea of if Lee Majors could have made a video like, hey Matt, you're bionic, see you someday, like it would have been amazing, and I'm sure kids are a little less impressed with the idea or people of being able to have Lyle Chipperson greet them. But I think, to me, it really is amazing the idea of that you get this personal interaction, even if it is, for $80 or $1,000, however much Chip is charging.
Chip charges $69. Chip charges $69, which was Sam's idea, and it's a perfect number. And Cameo takes their cut. Which is okay. I'm only on the web. I was on the app, but I won't do the app anymore because iPhone takes an additional 30%. It's disgusting what Apple takes.
What?
Really?
They take an additional, they're such cunts, an additional 30%. So I just
30?
Wow.
An additional 30 to what you're already paying Cameo. So I've opted out of the app, and I'm just on the web. If you want to see me, I'm on, cameo.com. You can get but it was just too much. It was unreasonable.
So if you have the Cameo app on a phone, you can't find Chip Chipperson. You have to go to cameo.com or something.
I think, you got to do it, or you got to do it through your web browser. Yeah, and I don't care if I lose some doing that. To me, it's just
a principle.
It's an egregious.
Principal Jim Norton.
It's too much.
This is good. It is that is the kind of stuff when you get your check and I thought I made this and I'm taking home this.
An additional 30. Yeah. But whatever. It's still fun to do, and I love it. And I try to make them all 2 minutes at least good. And, I try to make them all comfortable and unique. And everyone is like Gilbert cleans up. Guys like that, Gilbert does a lot of cameo. Yeah. Like Gilbert can make like a legit, I can't make a living on it, but it's just, it's good extra money now that I'm not doing gigs. I think Sam should do it. I tell him, you'd be surprised that they're more fun than you think they are, and more people are asking me about it lately.
Try to get Sam to say ridiculous things.
Yeah, they would just be absurd about it. I'm not doing it.
Or cutting wrestling promos, Sam. I'll bet a lot of wrestling fans would love it if you would announce them the way you do the wrestling.
Well, guess what? Like, there's a reason I announce on WWE because I stand on this pedestal, right?
Yeah,
I'm not one of these guys who believes that we should remove, like, that it should be like, well, the audience and the performer are really on the same level. No. The performer's up here, and the audience is way down here. And if you want to interact with the performer, it's very difficult. You can't just pay, $80 on a cameo and get
Sammy, I got to ask something. I don't want to start anything here. I think you and Jimmy have phenomenal chemistry, but you and Pat McAfee seem to be tight. I mean, I feel like you're cheating on Jimmy getting a new partner there.
Well, not only is he not cheating on me, I drop him off at Pat's house and I go, stay as long as you like.
I was going to be a little bit more diplomatic than that, I guess. But, Jim has Matt Serra in his life. And that doesn't bother Jim and I have an open relationship where we respect each other's boundaries. We have our rules.
Sure.
We both have to approve of each other's partners. But,
that's right.
Like any good open relationship. But yes, Pat McAfee and I, we have hit it off. We enjoy each other very much, especially in that wrestling vein. And I don't know if you saw Matt, but they've actually McAfee's going to wrestle. McAfee's doing a match.
So was that he left his honeymoon with Adam?
Of course.
I was stunned. Of
course, business first.
If this is all a work, or I don't.
No, dude. This is why Pat McAfee and I get along. The same reason why Pat McAfee would interrupt his honeymoon to further this wrestling angle with Adam Cole is the same reason why I had my wife schedule the C-section for our daughter to be delivered on a Thursday so that I could go do a WWE gig on the Saturday. Like, look, we could wait.
Listen, here's my new daughter. See you, honey. You're so beautiful. Get used to daddy being gone.
And I had all day on Friday to be like, what a beautiful baby. And then Saturday, I was out of here, but I'll see you again Sunday. No problem.
He was texting people a photo of a cigar here. Wouldn't it be nice if I could hand you one of these? But, he's like a Harry Chapin song.
Oh my God!
Yes. Wish he drove like him.
Like they were a mile away.
I know. I couldn't help it.
It was a good one. I don't mean it. Wrestling and UFC have both figured out kind of how to get going back as they talk about canceling college football. And so many. It's scary. I mean, like, are you guys? Is there any plans ever to go back into studio? Or for you guys, I would imagine it's actually probably easier just doing it from home.
I miss certain parts of it. But I think we do a good job from here. The microphone, Sirius has been excellent, and the people that are like kind of putting together the technical have made it really easy. I would love to go back. We're thinking maybe January, February will be allowed, but I think before the new year we're not allowed to anyway. So, I hate to say it, but this is the new normal. Sam, comment?
I've never heard it phrased that way, Jim. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, look, I built a studio in my house way before any of this. So the fact that I just get to be in my studio all the time now, I would if they were like, you can never leave that studio, I'd go, that was the plan anyway. That was the plan from the beginning.
Yeah, it is.
I'm happy here.
It is funny. I think that we are, whether it's that new normal, whatever, but you are figuring out how to do things remotely. I know we're stumbling through a lot of that too, and having a setup is a big advantage. Jimmy, have you outfitted? You still just the green screen kid
sitting in front of? Well, I'm not home right now. I'm crashing at Hargis's, but I'm doing the green screen. I don't mind it. I don't mind it because the microphone is good. That's all I care about is the audio of it. Like the video is. Sam has like a legit studio. I don't need that. I'm fine with this with the green screen. I can get done when I need to and push my setup aside, and then my apartment is normal again. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah,
it is. This is in my office. My beautiful Zoom setup.
That's great that you have an office. You have a house, right?
Yeah, I got a house, and I actually at the beginning of the lockdown, there's like the garage in the house the previous owner had converted to kind of a guest house, and it was the roof was leaking. Turned out it was filled with mold, so the roof had to come off, and so I ended up building kind of a broadcast studio out there that I've been using some for some remote stuff that we're doing. So same thing where it was kind of the pandemic hit, so I just kind of took the opportunity to build it, thinking I'm, do stuff remotely, and it has become a very good investment in a short time. And it's, it is. I think for you guys, the hardest part is you miss the actual chemistry of being in the same room with somebody, where it's great, the technology is good, and we're figuring out there's no lag with this. This is amazing. But it's still just not the same as you are, even like the nonverbal cues that, even with the cameras, there's stuff you don't pick up, and it's a great surrogate, but man, I miss that energy of just being around people and kind of,
laughing in the same room is something. There's something about that. Well, let me ask you, Matt, what do you think of, because now Putin is saying that they have some sort of a vaccine. You have a medical background. Do you think that there's truth to that, or do you think that skipping that phase 3 testing is terrible?
Look, the delay in the development of a vaccine is that it has to go through stages in trying to make sure it's safe. And initially when this started to hit, the talk was there wouldn't be a vaccine for more than 2 years, because no matter how you shorten it, there are certain tests you need to do evaluating it in a lab, evaluating small groups of people and a larger group of people, and evaluating the effects. And they've moved heaven and earth, and we're still looking, it's still probably going to be 6 months, which is incredibly fast here in America. Now, we have different safety standards. I don't know. My guess is you might have a vaccine. The question is, how effective is it going to be? Because it sounds like they're using, rather than the actual COVID virus itself, they're using a similar virus as kind of the backbone. So I don't know. I just heard that too. I think, skeptical at best, because even the vaccines we're developing here, and I feel like Dr. Steve would be probably more versed on this, but the point is you don't know how effective it's going to be until you get it into a population. And the way it works is, it may not work on everybody, but you need it to work on, say, 7 out of 10 people to build the herd immunity. And so, to understand it, there's even when we get the vaccine out, there'll be a period where we won't know its efficacy for months. So my guess is this could be a political move on Russia's part to force our hands. And I don't know. I mean, it's crazy to see that this is how the response to the virus is different globally, and also, being used by different governments in different ways. So I don't know. I think even if we get a vaccine, I think it's probably going to be a few years before we're back to trying to be normal, where people are going to be comfortable, and until we know that it's protective. But it's crazy, like football, comedy, these things where you want an audience, and they're doing it without. But my God, the idea of going to a movie theater, they're just, I don't know when that's going to happen again, and that sucks.
Yeah. Herd immunity. That's what they say we got to achieve, right? Herd immunity.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, and there are different numbers. We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah. Herd immunity. What'd she say? Go ahead, Eisman. Back to you. I was just lighting in the mood.
Can I walk you through the process of what just...
Wait. If I'm deaf, it wouldn't work.
Fuck yeah, like your DEF, like as in chill.
Where's Piff the Dragon for that one? He's on fire.
He's probably fucking breathing fire on somebody. I don't know. I couldn't think of this.
Dude, so,
Sam, we talk about this. You're co-hosting with 2 people. Not just
It's
Jim.
amazing.
That's right.
It's a whole group of people. Schenkel pops up sometimes. Here comes Paul Hargis. You never know who you're going to get. But
in terms of the getting Uncle Paul in.
In terms of the nonverbal cues, like I watched Chip show up as you were talking, and I was like, okay, I'll let Chip talk. But then Jim came in because it had been too long since you said herd immunity. Yeah. So Jim had to ask you to repeat it so that then Chip could then come back and do the thing that Chip wanted to do.
If I can't set my man up, what am I supposed to? I got to set Chipperson up.
You're right.
It's right. Otto and George, just with split personalities.
and not as good at jokes.
Hey, Matt, do people, because you're such a nice guy, right? I feel like any room you go into, you're the nicest guy in the room. And you're a big guy, too, right? Do people ever assume, like, and you can always catch people. I like it when I know somebody's smart, but I know that they're letting people believe that they're dumb. Do you ever catch somebody that mistakes your niceness? Because you're a doctor, obviously. Like, you're probably the smartest guy in the room in a lot of rooms that you're in. But I think that sometimes you allow people to not know that you're the smartest guy in the room. Is that a strategy that you have ever
I don't know if it's a strategy. It's just, I guess I always felt there were smarter people around. So you didn't want to pick an intellectual fight when you're going to lose. I don't know, Sammy. The other thing, though, is I think that I've seen people who are incredibly smart and who let you know it. And I don't think that's a very productive way to be. And it doesn't. What does it count for in Hollywood? Who cares who's smart, really? So I don't know. I don't know. I'm book smart, but clearly in person, I don't know. I still play video games, and I'm not the most mature guy. So probably, Sam, it's more just. What
do you think, Jim? Jim, do you think that? Do you think Matt lets people think that he's dumber than he actually is because it's just a good tool to have?
Yeah, I think Matt will gladly, but I do think that Matt will probably swoop in at the end with a statement to make them realize their folly, which I think, and it's just like you probably get used to it when you're a big, good-looking dude and athletic. People don't realize this guy, also has a tremendous amount of medical knowledge, and you probably get used to it. It's almost like when you see a guy who's 6'8". And you're like, oh, he must play basketball, or he must be a football player. And it's like, no, he's a dentist. He's just 6'8". Because big athletic guys, we always assume, make their living from being athletes and not.
He believes he fights tooth decay. I don't know, Sammy. I always think there is. Maybe it's just relating to people, right? Like trying to be nice. I don't know. The other thing is I'm very conflict avoidant. So I never want to pick the intellectual battles or lay into debates, particularly with strangers. Like if it's friends, it's one thing, but things like politics or how to handle the COVID disease. I think with a lot of people right now, a lot of people are not looking for conversations. They're looking for arguments.
Yeah.
Speaking of
avoid that stuff.
Speaking of politics, Jim, mysteriously for the entire show, we didn't mention it. But yesterday afternoon at around 4:25 p.m., they announced that Kamala Harris was indeed going to be Joe Biden's vice presidential pick. So Kamala Harris, it was announced yesterday at about 4:25 that
I don't know.
She is going to be the vice presidential pick.
I didn't even see that was announced. I saw the speakers are coming out tomorrow, right?
Yep.
At the Democratic National Convention, the virtual convention.
Biden-Harris 2020 is the official ticket that we hadn't brought up earlier, Jim. But what do you guys think? What do you think, Jim?
I think I would like to congratulate President Trump on his reelection.
Really?
I'm not a fan of Kamala Harris. I would like to have had many other people in the party other than her. I just didn't like her. But again, she's a really smart woman, and she's certainly ballsy. But with Joe Biden, again, I would feel this way if he was a Republican or a Whig. When you're that old, it's the vice president becomes much more important. Yeah. And I would prefer not to see her as the president. I didn't like her during the debates. What's that?
In the debates for the nomination, she took some shots at Biden that I imagine the Republicans will use to kind of drive the wedge. The other thing that's crazy is a lot of that's going to happen. November is a mile away, and we're seeing more so than ever the news cycle. It is incredible how things seem huge, like even the impeachment, how that's distant in our rearview mirror. And at the time, you felt, this is going to shape the election, and now nobody remembers it. So I think the pick of VP, so much is going to happen, and to me, it'll be interesting to see how the debates. If the debates happen, how they happen, and what people see head to head. But I don't know. I don't know how many people's minds are really going to be changed in this election.
I don't either, but I do definitely think to be the same way she was able to take shots at Biden, and it was tough for Biden to come back from some of them, in the moment, that I think she'll I mean, in a debate where it's Biden and Trump, there's not, and who cares who the vice presidents are? It is what it is. It's two people debating. But in terms of fighting back and taking shots, I think she might be a little better at that game than Joe Biden is at this point. She's a little bit feistier, a little bit better on her feet than old Sleepy Joe, as he's become known in some circles.
But when is the last time any president, I mean, maybe it's happened recently, like Hillary Clinton went with Tim Kaine, Trump went with Pence. When's the last time somebody went and took somebody where they had just destroyed each other in the fucking nomination process? Like, to me, that's it, like, they all shit on each other and then they're buddy at the end. We all know the whole thing is fucking garbage. All of them do it. But I can't think of the last one who actually picked somebody that they beat in the primaries or whatever. Like, is there another case of that? Maybe there is recently, Travis, if you have that or so. I can't think of anyone, but to me it just seems like a really bad move. And he'll probably go back 3 years and find someone. But like, McCain didn't beat Sarah Palin. I'm sorry, in the or did Obama beat Biden though? In the was that one of the?
I'm not sure.
Remember, because Biden had the comment about him, calling him well spoken, and
yes,
kind of some of those.
Terms. There's my theory. Up in smoke.
There it is, gone. Well, that's why I'm mad at
but I think, but I don't know that they were like the shots that landed. Like, when in the debate, she really, her shots really landed about the segregation and the busing, and but I don't know. It'll. I think the point though is, as people wonder if he has the stamina to last a 4-year term, I think the VP pick seems to be more important than it has in previous elections.
Right.
Yeah. I think also people do not have, even the people that don't like Trump, they still, when you talk to them, a lot of them do not have a tremendous amount of faith in Biden. So I think that the idea here was also to create a super ticket. So it's got to be somebody that you know. And while she did take shots at him, he's still running around without her saying, if you don't vote for me, you're not black, and just saying weird shit, like weird old man shit that he doesn't know sounds bad. Having the person, but I was going to say, having the person there that took the shots at least now makes it so that if somebody else comes along and goes, hey, you did this, and he's like, oh, I know, but the person who called me out for it is on my side now, so she'll make sure that I don't do that again. Like, she's there watching me now. Like, she'll make sure I'm not racist anymore.
It's an interesting strategy in that Kamala and Joe are two of the more moderate Democrats out there. If you look at Bernie or Warren, and it could be a move where they're saying, listen, we know we've got the far left. We want the moderates, the people who probably are more in the middle, who could go either way. And the idea of, if you took someone who's really advocating the Green New Deal or some of the socialist policies, maybe people feel uncomfortable. But I think Kamala, with her past as a prosecutor, perceived being tough on crime, particularly with the riots going on, people may want to have an idea that now this is someone who is going to stand for law and order, which is probably Trump's ground, right? That he's going to run on with everything going on. And so having her on there with the former record as a prosecutor, maybe it's a way to say, we know we've got everyone to the left. Let's get some of the people in the middle.
You know what? I will look more into her.
I just killed it.
And
Sorry,
see if
guys.
you might be right. I will look more into her and see if I like her more. Maybe I just judged her because I didn't like her on the debate stage, and maybe I was wrong. So now I'll look closer. I mean, she's been texting me, and I've been ignoring her.
She's been texting you, and
well, she's funny text. Like, do I have your vote yet? Right. And she'll send me like a news story. I'm like, oh God, KH.
Does she text you or does she text Chip? She goes, I want that guy campaigning for me.
Well, she was like, hey Jim, you and your funny friends, and she puts it in quotes, but she means Uncle Paul, which is really bizarre.
And she said, not Sam.
Hey Kamala.
Yeah, I mean, I also think that he needed somebody who people know. Like, he can't introduce people to somebody who doesn't have that national presence already. Like, I don't think this is one of those unique things where he needs that power ticket to beat Trump. And so he needs somebody that everybody knows, at least from those debates.
Who wants to go into politics when you watch Aaron Bass, who is kind of being floated recently, and all of a sudden they started scrutinizing like all her past appearances, everything, where you just come under this microscope and people are just looking for ways to destroy you. I thought that's got to be a miserable existence. You're out trying to do good, and everyone is just looking for kill shots, nuclear bombs, ways to blow you up. It seems like an unsavory profession to be in.
I wonder why he didn't go with Susan Rice.
I'm sorry?
I wonder why he didn't go with Susan Rice. Well, there must have been something in her past or some interview she had or some perception that they're like, nah, it's just she missed the mark on that one, or she didn't say that right, or she wasn't tough enough on crime. I would love to know what goes into vetting, and I guess John McCain would too, after the Sarah Palin thing, like where the vetting was they emailed her and she's like, yeah, I'm around. And they're like, all right, good, you're in. I would love to know what they do to vet you. What happens?
There's an article from literally 2 days ago in the New York Times that says Susan Rice was a diplomatic disaster.
Oh, okay.
That was in the Times.
Wow.
So I would imagine that if that's in the Times, it's an opinion piece, but still, the fact that I Google her name, and that's the first article that comes up.
Well,
makes me think that if
people probably got that in the Times. Yeah. We're sinking you.
An opinion piece by Kamala Harris.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all interesting, but you're so right. I love the people now. They're like, who do you think's going to win? And you're like, do you really think, with the year that we've been having,
oh my God,
that any of us have any idea
what
November is going to look like? Yeah, it's going to be
crazy
wild.
how it's not even a week. It's day to day. The cycle seems to shift as to what the focus is. And it is crazy because you feel like the goldfish where you just see what's put in front of you and we react to it. And you see how the media gets to shape our focus and where we're looking and where we pay attention to. And we do it. We dance when they tell us to. And it'll be so much is going to, I think, come out and change between now and then. And, whether the economy comes back, whether there's a vaccine, whether it seems that the COVID is under control, it is next to impossible to predict, but it won't stop us from doing it.
No, and those moments too. You used to have those singular moments that you could pinpoint. That's the moment that destroyed everything. Like Howard Dean yelling or whatever it was. Those little moments that you're like, that's the moment that killed everything. Those moments now are daily. Every single day, Trump says something that he'll never come back from, and then Biden says something that he'll never come back on, and then Kamala Harris says a thing that she'll never come back on.
You're right, and Howard Dean was
every
just
day.
Yeah,
that's it.
That one syllable sank his career and turned him into a crazy person.
But it was literally the audio version of Chappaquiddick. I mean, it couldn't have been worse. He couldn't have done worse.
You know he was feeling it because you heard that. We're gonna go to Washington. Oh, we're gonna go to North Dakota. And he was like, "Oh, I'm killing. I am laying this out." The crowd's getting pumped up, and then that just
Yeah.
And he walked off. I wonder if he even knew it in the moment, or if he thought, I crushed it.
I crushed that one. Crushed that one, yeah.
Well, it ruined what's his name too. Not that Andrew Yang would have won, but he had a couple of those moments like where
that ruined it for you.
It ruined, but that's the voters felt the same way. I'm sure. Like you look at Andrew Yang, he's a brilliant guy, great ideas. And then you watch him and he's going, I like pizza Pete. And I'm like, I don't want this fucking guy with his hand on a button. It annoyed me. It was weirdly uncomfortable. Guys saying mean shit doesn't make me uncomfortable. Guys doing shady business shit, but moments that are revealing like that, it hits you in a weird way.
But that didn't destroy him to the public. That destroyed him for you. He didn't get votes because people thought he was too outside of the box.
No, but there was also the whipped cream one where the guy's kneeling and he's shooting whipped cream in his mouth. He had a few of those with the axe. He threw the thing hey, I can throw the axe or whatever. But people
home, Jimmy.
Yeah. And I'm like, first of all, why whipped cream? It was such a letdown. Yeah. There should be a whole
cream under the porch.
Oh.
Yeah.
But Jimmy, you nailed it though. To me, you see, politics isn't about policy. It's that visceral feel of who inspires you. Who do you have your confidence in? And a lot of times it has nothing to do necessarily with the policy. It really is what is the shape of this person that the way they communicate with you, does it inspire you? Do you feel like, okay, this is the person I see as a leader? And not that, Trump fits that bill, but it is, and you don't know what is it that people just react to. And I mean, it's like wrestlers, Sammy, when who's popping, right? And everyone thinks, Fandango has a run. And they think, oh, no, this is just
That's true.
Primary.
Oh, Fandango.
Yeah.
Fuck, I forgot about that guy.
Yes, he has this run, and like his promos are great. But then he does one promo, or he doesn't evolve right, or something like that, and everybody's like, "Who?
Where is he now? What happened to that guy?
I mean, he's still around, like he still wrestles. But
It
he's
is
not
kind of
like,
one note. It's tough to get beyond that thing of
That's it.
how you say
And
your name.
When we met him in studio, and you met him, Jim,
I did.
he was gearing up to have a debut match at WrestleMania at MetLife Stadium, and was one of the biggest acts on TV. And then eventually, I mean, unfortunately, wrestling's a little bit different. I kind of feel like sometimes Vince sometimes he just laughs at an act and thinks that it's the best thing ever, and then he just gets bored. And then, your career slows down, and it is what it is. That's kind of, but it's like television, I'm sure there are executives that are controlling series. They're like, oh, this character is amazing. Like, and then they get bored of it, and they're like, nah, never mind. We didn't write any scenes for him this week.
Didn't I oil him up? I oiled his chest up.
Yeah. You put baby oil on Fandango's chest.
Didn't he insist when the mics were off? He's like, "Hey guys, I'm not that character. I'm actually."
Because he likes he likes Jim. Like he's actually a fan of Jim.
Is he really? Oh,
yeah. He likes you. He's actually a really funny guy. Like, but he still pulls off his characters well. It's just the spotlight's not on
as much
the way it was then. Yeah,
it was fun, but a lot of the wrestlers are fans. That's what kind of how we get them in. We get the wrestlers in because they enjoy the comedy angle, and I'm like, come on, Sam likes it too, and they're like, all right, whatever you say.
Yeah, I'm just riding these Norton coattails so I can meet more wrestlers.
Yeah.
Well, look, Matt Iceman, it's not like you just have this set up because you want to have conversations with myself and Jim. Factorious is the big podcast that has been. It's been sweeping the nation. Everybody's
I like
talking
to think
about.
I inspired Chip to create his own show, which really started this whole role.
That's right.
That's
what
true.
Was, because Gotcha comes from a podcast I had done a while ago. It never went anywhere. It was a stupid game. It just made up it was terrible sketches, and they did an animation. But you inspired a game show.
Take me to the river. Let's dance.
Yeah, is that what it was? Yeah, there was a game show.
And I will say this. You put so much work into that game, Jim.
Yeah.
Chip put so much work into it. It was impressive because you actually, not only did you have questions, you had scoring, you had like layers of, now this question has another layer. I was impressed with what you'd done. I thought, and you created a good game.
That was there was like what's the world's biggest river? It was like legit questions, and then it was like would you take that one, or like what happened to my pet? What happened to my fish in 1994? Like
I think it involved hitting a cow upside the head with an iron was one of the.
Oh God, because he was mooing too loud while Reggie was watching Soul Train. Yeah, I forgot about that. The cow with the iron.
Oh, it was great. It was great.
Well,
doing Factorious, and today is Trivia Tuesday. A new episode just dropped wherever you get your podcasts. Check it out.
He didn't ask us
any
questions. You didn't ask us any.
Do you want to do a quick round?
Let's do a quick round.
I actually happen to have some here prepared for you guys. If you're ready to play Factorious.
By the way,
for those who don't know.
Here's why Jim wants to do it, because we played it once before and I won. That's why Jim wants to do another round.
I didn't even remember the one, but I'm sure I'll win this time.
He wants to get his crown back.
He beat Matt Serra. He didn't win. So, Factorious, here's how it works. I give you a clue. That clue is the letter or letters of the answer. I then give you the facts. When you think you know the answer, buzz in by saying your name. If you get it right, you get the points. But if you get it wrong, your opponent gets the rest of the facts and likely gets that answer. Jim and Sam, are you guys ready to play Factorious?
Yes.
All right, here we go. 50 points. Your first clue, J.R. J.R. Mm-hmm. Once again, when you think you know the answer, say your name. Jim always says the answer, but here we go. Surprisingly, JR is a competitive sport in over 30 countries, and JR organizations and clubs can be found in almost
Jumping
every
rope,
city.
Jim.
Sam.
Jumping rope. Jim Norton gets the 50 points.
Whoa,
Says it in the backwards order.
Yeah, that was my nickname in high school. Jumping rope,
Jumping rope, Jimmy.
Yeah.
All right.
But for the record, for just to understand the rules, if I had been quick, right? If I had said Sam when he was saying rope, since I said Sam before you said Jim, I would have gotten to answer that question, right? The jumping rope wouldn't have counted, right?
We're checking with the home office, and they said, "Don't be a loser, Sam. That's too much."
Yeah, the home office has had enough. You can just fire it out in any order. I'll accept it.
Okay, 50 points for Jimmy, nothing for the nudge. Here we go. Okay. Your next clue is S. S. Hornison is a traditional sport played in S. That's a mix between golf and baseball.
Sam.
Some believe it emerged.
Jim Norton,
Sam.
Scotland.
Sam first. Jim
I said Sam
Scotland,
already.
but Sam said his name first.
Oh,
Sam,
I thought he was guessing. I thought the S was a guess.
Sam?
I said Sam.
Okay,
Scotland.
Scotland. That is incorrect, Sam. So the remainder of it now goes to Jim. You fell victim to his ploy.
Okay.
I was going to say Scotland anyway.
Some believe that sport emerged from the heathen custom of hitting burning logs to expel spirits. I don't know if they pay Hornison, but a lot of celebrities, including Shania Twain and Phil Collins, have lived in S. In S, Independence Day is celebrated by making paper lanterns and lining the streets with them. The average citizen of S eats around 20 pounds of chocolate each year, and S is well known for its cheese.
Jim. Sweden.
Yes. It is not Sweden.
Switzerland.
It is Switzerland.
That was so
No
stupid.
points awarded.
No, I meant to say
Still
Switzerland.
Sweden is known for its cheese.
Well, that's why I said I realized as soon as I
Scotland,
said the wrong
Scotland
country.
boy, what are you heckling Jim for? He's got 50 points. You got none.
I did
I
know
got
it was
none of those
Switzerland,
clues.
but I said it was
A
Sweden.
land of chocolate.
By the way,
Swiss
Swedish
chocolate.
chocolate is very popular. Swedish chocolate
Oh,
and the
well,
fish.
see.
Their fish are amazing.
Maybe
Okay.
we're gonna check the fact checking on this question. We'll get back to you. But right now, Jim has 50, Sam has 0. Here's your next clue. Oh, this is a good one. Your clue is JT.
Okay.
JT. JT once sang a duet with Miley Cyrus. It's on the soundtrack for the movie Bolt.
Sam.
Sam, an early buzz in. What do you got, Sam?
Justin Timberlake.
Is it Justin Timberlake? No, it is not. Jimmy, the rest of these are for you. JT said some of the best advice he ever received was from Marlon Brando, and it went as follows. Don't expect things from people that they can't give you. In 1975, JT shot to stardom for his role as Vinnie Barbarino in the hit TV series Welcome Back, Kotter.
I'd like
Jim is
to
smiling.
buzz in casually.
Jimmy's buzzing in.
Take your time, Jim.
Jim with the old buzz is going to say it's Johnny Travolta.
Johnny Travolta is correct. A massage to him and another 50 points.
Yes. Likes cheeseburgers and pushing his anus in the air. I got it.
Sammy, you have points off. All right.
face.
Your next clue. Your next clue is T. The letter T.
Okay.
The common German name for tea translates to wolf peach. And apparently, according to German folklore, teas were used for summoning werewolves. Buñol, a village in Spain, has a festival every year that's held on the last weekend in August. At the festival, people throw teas at each other. Sam, trying to get on the board.
Tomatoes.
Is it tomatoes, Sammy's favorite vegetable?
Favorite.
Yes, it is. Sammy,
Yes.
50 points for you. Closing the gap.
Tomatina is the festival.
I'm yesterday's tomatoes.
Well, Sammy, if you keep doing well, you could catch up to Jimmy.
That's good. Like a tomato paste.
I know, but I'll go back to Jersey. I don't know. I couldn't think. Okay, go ahead.
Fun.
That's fun.
Okay, your next clue, WW.
Wow.
WW. WW once had many varied jobs. WW was an assistant, worked in fast food, was a romance editor, and became a singer. WW has appeared in films as varied as Midnight Cowboy and The Lego Movie. The creator of WW was a psychologist who also invented one of the first modern lie detector tests. WW is a true badass with a great sense of style. whether she's deflecting bullets with her bracelets.
I got it, Jim.
The lasso.
Jim,
earlier. Is it Wonder Woman? Yes, it is. Spin around and get another 50 points. Jim, you're going to the bonus round. Sam, you got one.
I don't get to go to the bonus round?
That's my victory move.
But by the way, Jim only got 2, so don't be like Sam. You got 1. Like that's only 50%.
He got 3. He got 3.
I got 3. I got Wonder Woman. I tripped.
John Travolta.
I should have actually had 4, but I tripped. I said sweet.
No,
but I did know Switzerland.
That was stupid.
It was a terrible
jump rope, and he got John Travolta.
That's right.
All right. So here's how it works in the bonus round.
Yeah, Sam, rushing was your folly. Go ahead.
That's true. That's true.
So you're going to have 1 minute to get 3 correct answers. Now, I will read you the clue and then start giving you the facts. The clock will start when I'm reading the facts. Now, you're not penalized for wrong answers here, so guess early, guess often. Once again, you have to get 3 correct answers in 60 seconds to win it all. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Can I help, Jim?
Seconds on the clock.
No.
Your first clue, you can help, Sam, or you can hurt. I don't know which you'll do.
Ooh.
Your first clue is S.
Shit.
Here we go. The original S was opened in the early 70s by 3 founders, an English teacher, a history teacher, and a writer. The English teacher was Jerry Baldwin, who in 2000 established J. Baldwin Wines. People often marvel at the rapid expansion of S since the late 80s, but S has actually been around since 1971. I know this sounds crazy, but when I was 30 years old, I went to S and had my very first coffee. It was a Frappuccino. Starbucks it is. That took 28 seconds. You have 32 seconds left to get 2 more correct answers.
Not good.
Go fast. Here we go. Your next clue, K.A. K.A.
Okay.
Kill them all.
K.A. was a legendary leader who, according to medieval histories, led the defense
Kofi
of
Annan.
Britain against Saxon invaders. In a famous 1981 film, K.A. was portrayed by classical stage actor Nigel Terry. K.A.'s historical basis has long been debated by scholars. Some say he was an actual historical figure. Others maintain he's a creation of folklore. The legends of K.A. include many other characters, including Uther Pendragon, Merlin, and Lancelot. In some
King
legends,
Arthur.
K.A. is there.
Nailed
it
it.
is. That took another 20 seconds.
Shit.
You now have
12
seconds left. Jim,
That's good math, Jim.
12 seconds to get 1 more correct answer. Jim,
Oh, no.
This is a chance to do what you couldn't do in the Tournament of Laughs.
Keep an erection. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Your clue is C.
Oh, perfect.
C.
What did she act like?
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to love these facts.
It's a food.
What did he
Here we
eat
go.
for dinner
12 seconds
last
on the clock. C. Here we go. Often C's feature holes named docking holes that serve the purpose of preventing air bubbles. It is believed that C's were invented in 1792 by John Pearson in Massachusetts. Personally, there are many types of C's that I love, including Club C's, Cheez-Its, and even saltines.
Crackers.
I like to... There it is!
Boom.
And it was
How long did it take
11.9 seconds. You've done it!
Oh, my God. That right
You
at the
are
buzzer.
a
That's
Factorious
incredible.
champion.
Let
That
me-
was really in there, the docking holes. I'm really going to show you that wasn't.
Let me celebrate.
But when I saw that clue,
That's a good celebration.
It's my celebration.
I got to say,
Got the
Sammy,
Schenkel snort.
Sam,
Yeah.
you're wonderful. But Jimmy, your competitive nature is awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love it. You are a
Victory.
gamer, man.
Victory. The taste of it just never gets old. Become addicted. to
Is this the
taste of
speech you had
victory.
ready for the Tournament of Laughs, the champion speech?
No, that speech was far less grateful. It was like I knew I was gonna fucking win. There was no competition. that was the speech.
Well, if you guys
well,
want to
Matt.
play along with that podcast, Factorious
Awesome.
is available every single week. It's the greatest competition podcast of all time.
It's great.
Thanks.
And I would check it out. Plus, you get smarter. The more you listen to Factorious, the better you'll get at the game because you'll have all this useless information shoved into your face.